Sugar and Crumbs kitchen. Well, we're in for a great night tonight. So we have the lovely Rachel Hanna back. Got it right. Back in the kitchen. And I'm sure you can't wait. So last time she was here, it was all about ganache. Tonight, it's all about sugar paste. And on top of that, she's going to decorate a few things as well to show you. So I'm sure you're going to thoroughly enjoy yourself. So sit back, get comfy and relax. So Simon is in the kitchen. He's on.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on camera. Do you like our new video? So I can't read your comments yet because I'm on comments, but feel free to comment away. So that's our new video for right up till Valentine's Day, and then we'll have another one then after that. And so just let me give you a little line of what's going on this week. So we've got Rachel in tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, you've got me in the afternoon. Ice them all. Look at this. Simon couldn't believe it. He went, Carol, you've done a practice. What do you mean you've done a practice? And even John's impressed. But look at that. I'm going to show you how to make one of these. They're called a sail. Yeah. Oh, you know. Good. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to do that. And then, so I did this really. This is my first attempt. This big long one there. Isn't that great? And then, so I was quite impressed with those. Oops. And that was my little baby one. So I'm going to show you how to make these and other colours tomorrow. And then I made some flowers. Get me? Look at this. So I used some of the moulds. So do you want to go to the overhead, Simon? Oops, there we go. So use some of the moulds. So I used the Karen Davies moulds. Whoops. Don't want to. Yeah. Use the Karen Davies moulds and the Katie Sue mould. That's a rose, that one there. And these two are these three. In fact, those four there are off the big blossom flower mould. Those four smaller ones. And then this big giant buttercream flowers one is off buttercream flowers. So how cute are they? So I'm going to show you how to make them tomorrow and a few other things. So I've had a great afternoon, all by myself in the kitchen. Well, Karen was here for 10 minutes, but I told her to go home. So come back tomorrow. I'm going to owe a load of hours anyhow, so she may as well go home and benefit from those. So I'm going to go and get comfy around there, and I'm going to let Rachel come over here. She's going to show you everything she knows, and I'm just going to move these things out of the way because I was just going to put them there. Then I thought, hang on a minute, we've got the rolling pin going over there. So let me just move these out of the way. Need to save them till tomorrow. And then after tomorrow's live with me at 2 o'clock, you've got Tracy Mann at 6:30. Wednesday, there's no live. Thursday, I'm back in the kitchen with the children, the grandchildren. And Thursday night, we've got Cicely Sutherland in. Oh, Thursday morning, Tracy Mann again at 11:30. And on Friday, you've got Karen. Now, Karen was showing you how to make macarons today. And then on Friday, she's going to do free from, so it will be nut-free macarons. So I'm sure you're going to thoroughly enjoy them. Right, I'm going to get on comments. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Good to go.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for having me back. Super excited.
Oh, broken.
Oh, God.
Oh.
There you go.
Carol.
Don't worry.
Do you know what the big one?
Pan and be melted tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. The big one, the red and black one. As
Yeah.
you were talking, then I was thinking how nice they'd look with a poppy mould.
Oh yeah, they would actually, wouldn't they?
Such a good
Yeah.
colour, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well done.
So, today we are doing a follow-on from the class that I did how many weeks ago? 2 maybe, right at the beginning of January, which was all about ganache, like Carol said. So I have prepped this. I've got 2. We'll see how we get on. Hopefully we can get through both. So we've got 2 ganache cakes here. These are 6-inch cakes. I'm using the 6.5-inch ganaching plate. So if you haven't caught that, go back and watch it on the Sugar and Crumbs page. If you've not done kind of the ganaching stage, but yeah, obviously we're assuming that you can go back and watch that.
Yeah, of course you can.
Absolutely.
And it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah, great. Whether you've used sugar paste or not before, I'm going to just run through it regardless, and obviously there might be little tips and bits of information in there that you might not know. And if you're a complete beginner and have been a bit too afraid of sugar paste, don't worry, you'll be able to do it after this, promise.
Oh, you're reassuring me there. That's good.
Yes, you will, Carol.
I just don't have the patience. That's my problem.
That's fine.
I start off all well and then I give up.
Well, hopefully this will be easy.
Yeah.
So we're going to be using a couple of different sugar pastes. I'm going to use one on one cake and another one, another brand on the other cake. We're going to try and motor through 2 because I'm going to do some decorative techniques on both of them as well. but it's going to be the same technique to actually get the finish and the edges on anyway. So the first one we're going to use is the Select Island one. Now I am using the standard one, so this one here in ivory, but there's also the Platinum Edition one as well, which I've not used before, but Carol says that it's even better, so that's this one, all available on the website. So that's the Platinum one is supposed to be like a premium one, so try them both out. This one's actually quite nice. Normally I've used the Massa brand that's also on the website for years, and actually this is quite a nice alternative option for it. So we'll start off using this one, and you will see obviously there's a price difference on the website as well for them. So before we get started with the actual sugar paste, what I'm going to just mention is that this has obviously set up in the fridge. So firm that up in the fridge once you ganache it, and then you can take it out, so maybe a couple of hours, then you can take it out, and you can leave it at room temperature, it will be absolutely fine. Or you can leave it in the fridge, totally up to you. If you are going to leave it in the fridge, just make sure you bring it back to room temperature before you put your sugar paste on, because what may happen, depending upon the temperature of your room, is that it might start to condensate. And if you're trying to then manage the sugar paste on top of something that's wet, it will cause you stickiness and some condensation and problems. It will just make it a little bit trickier to deal with, and it will give you a shorter amount of time for you to kind of smooth those edges.
Well, let me just tell you, you've got an audience of just under 400 people.
Amazing.
So it's fluctuating between 360 and 400, so it's up and down.
Okay.
We've got lots of massive fans of Select Island. They're all saying how they absolutely love it.
Amazing.
We actually do our own flavour strawberry as well, which I'm going to hear. So we do that one as well, and everyone's saying they're really looking forward to it tonight.
Oh, good. Me too.
So last thing, if you're new and you're watching tonight, please say hello. Let us know that you're here. It's always lovely to see the newbies, and don't be scared of any of the members who are watching. Just because they answer back, don't you girls? Some of them are a bit cheeky, okay, but don't worry, they're a really lovely, friendly bunch. They don't mean any harm. They just like to have a lovely little bit of banter as well as watching tonight's live. So do get involved. Don't be scared of asking anything.
Absolutely. So we've got this at kind of room temperature. So this was taken out of the fridge about 45 minutes ago. I'm using a spare larger ganaching plate, but you can use a cake board or you can do it on your worktop, depending on what worktop you've got. We're not cutting on the pink board. I know you're all super protective over the pink board. We won't be cutting on the pink board, which is, I always use these ganaching plates anyway. So this is a 6-inch cake on a 6.5 inch it is now, on a 10.5 inch ganaching board, which just gives me a nice area to work on. So the first thing I'm going to do before I use do anything with the sugar paste is just prep this so it's ready to go on. I'm ready to put the sugar paste on as soon as I've rolled it out, because we want to, once we start working with it, we want to get it to that point as quickly as possible. We don't want to have to stop and faff around with this. So I'm just using some Trex. So this is just vegetable fat. If you're in a different country, you might know it's Crisco. And I'm just going to lightly coat the surface of my cake in a bit of Trex. Now I'll also be conditioning the sugar paste with Trex as well. So you don't need to put a load on, but you don't need to be it doesn't need to be super neat. You just need to make sure that right down to the bottom is covered as well. And this will just help, not only will it help the sugar paste adhere to the cake, it'll also give you some flexibility it'll still allow you to move the sugar paste around on the cake if you want to you'll see actually when we come to use the smoothers that we need to kind of do that to get the sharp edges, because we're going to end up with a nice sharp edge around this top edge, which some of you may look to get on your cake, some of you might have struggled with, some of you might not care less about it, but I'm going to show you how anyway. But we're also going to condition the sugar paste with some Trex, because what it does is it will give us more time to work with the sugar paste before it starts to firm up.
Well, some positive feedback. Alison Morris says, after watching Rachel's live on ganache, I gave it a go. My daughter loves it and wants a ganache cake for her birthday.
Amazing.
So she's done it before. To be fair, I saw loads of people who've never done ganache, and after your last live, they absolutely loved it.
They're all getting on the ganache train.
Yeah. So we're over 400 people watching now. Are you feeling nervous? Ooh, 420.
No.
Can you imagine 420 people?
I know, that's like a conference. That's like a Cake International level audience, that right Absolutely. There.
So I just want to say happy birthday to Linda Gribble. So happy birthday, Linda Gribble. You've got your lovely son Sean to thank you for this. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you. She's probably wondering, how do I know? Well, while this live's been going on, I've been chatting with her son, because I spoke to him early in the week, and I said, just check she's watching. And he's just checked, and she said, call me back later. I'm watching the live.
I bet he was like, excellent. That's planned.
She said she won't speak to me.
Far too busy to speak to me, even though he's done this lovely thing.
Oh dear. So I'm sure everybody will be wishing you happy birthday, Linda. I know it's not till Wednesday, but we've no live on Wednesday. So I've got it in for you now. Lynn Woodward is asking, is that just Trex that you've rubbed onto your cake?
Yes. So I've just covered the ganache cake in a thin layer of Trex, and just to make sure that it's completely covered, but you don't need like a really thick layer, it is just quite thin. It's just to give it some tackiness, and I've also just popped a little on the board, and I'm kneading this onto it. So I've not put a load into the sugar paste. What I've done is I've just rubbed a little bit into the board, and as I've kneaded the sugar paste, it just picks it up. And what that will do is it'll just make your sugar paste nice and pliable, and also just keep it from going firm too quickly. So depending on what brand of sugar paste you use, you might need to add a little more of this. Some of the brands, particularly in the winter, when they're stored, obviously they're stored at ambient, and some of them are quite solid, like a real solid block. This is like probably medium. Renshaw is on the softer side. Massa can be really solid when you get it out at room temperature in the winter. So it can sort of break your wrists a little bit when you're trying to knead it. I know some people pop it in the microwave and soften it a little bit that way. Just be careful if you are doing that, short, sharp bursts.
Oh yeah, because I did that once myself. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do this fast. Completely forgetting that the microwave heats from the centre.
Yeah.
Really put my fingers in it. Oh, I certainly got my fingers out.
So just giving it a little knead.
I did get my fingers burnt.
It's almost like pure sugar, so... So yeah, I'm just kneading it, and it's a bit like kneading bread dough, so you're just pushing it out and pulling it back into the centre. So obviously I'm doing this in a circular shape because I'm going to be covering a round cake, and the aim is to always try and keep it the shape of the cake tier that you're covering. So as you can see, I'm just keeping that nice and neat.
So a couple of questions I want to ask you. So ladies, if you'll do your like and shares, please, let everybody know it's all about sugar paste, very interesting to the cake world. So if you're in any other group, say, look, do you want to learn about covering your cakes with sugar paste? Come on, watch this, it's a free demo. So like and share, also in with a chance to win your that massive big bundle that we have on at the moment, whose name I can't think of.
That's a big thing.
I can't think of what name it is. Got too much on my mind. I'm doing my hardest to remember to call Rachel. We can only do so many things on one night.
True.
They're asking you what's your page to like and share, follow.
My Facebook page is, well, I've got a couple. So one for my wedding cakes is Marie Antoinette Cakes on Facebook, and then I've got the Sugar Craft School for all my classes, and I have a Facebook group called the Sugar Craft School with Rachel Hanna. So that's a group that you'll have to ask to join. Yeah. But yeah.
And then, so ladies also, Hanna has got a class. Rachel. Rachel.
Trying to multitask, Carol.
I know, I'm trying to read comments, can't do it all. So Rachel's got a class on the 15th of February. Now that is, so Rachel's going to do several classes this year for us, and this is an introduction to wedding cakes. Yeah. Now I'm going to let her tell you, because she's doing a massive amount. Try not to do it on the day, watch and learn.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So it's great to do it on the day, but you know what, sometimes you miss some points. Try and watch it on the day, so it's well worth it. And then she's going to come back and do another class which is a bit more advanced, and then we're going to go really advanced. So we've got plenty to keep you busy with, okay?
Definitely.
So do you want to tell me your page name?
Yeah, I've done the Facebook one. The two on Instagram is Marie Antoinette Cakes _UK and at the Sugar Craft School.
That's right.
Which one you want to follow, but go check it out.
Brilliant, good. And if you want to buy a class, it's on our website, which is sugarandcrumbs.co.uk. It's an online class, which is brilliant. It's £40. What you're going to learn for £40 is amazing. As with all our tutors, you may see a pretty picture of the cakes with our tutors, but everyone who's been in the classes will tell you you learn so much more. Avoid the picture. The picture's just a quick thing that they give you because that's what they're putting together while they put the class. But in the class, you get body and soul, you get everything. So do think about some of the other classes as well.
So once you've kind of got it to this stage, we want to move quite quickly on it. Now, Carol assures me, I've never rolled out on the pink board before, and she assures me I do not need to put icing sugar or corn flour on it. So we're going to test that. I would
never use the pink board.
I've never used the pink board.
What are you doing with that now?
I'm just showing what I would usually use if you don't have a pink board. I'm not about to chuck it everywhere, don't worry. It's like, don't you dare use that on my pink board. So if you don't have a pink board and you're just using your worktop at home, it's absolutely fine. I just use like a little flour shaker, and personally I use corn flour. So I am going to pop a little bit on top just so that the rolling pin doesn't stick. I use corn flour rather than icing sugar. I find it less abrasive. It's less abrasive on your hands, and it's less fewer lumps in it. It's a lot finer. The other piece of kit I'm going to use is a acupuncture needle. So when I first started, I would use a scriber tool, which is a classic cake decorating tool. It's basically a needle on a stick. But for me, they leave quite a big hole, or they can leave quite a big hole in your sugar paste. And unless you're really good at getting rid of those, which you can do, but it's like another thing you've got to look out for. Using an acupuncture needle, which are super fine, just is an absolute dream. And when I teach this in the professional basics class that I usually do in person, people realise it's a game changer. But I'm going to crack on because we don't want this to set too firm. So it's just an air bubble.
So did you tell them where they could buy those acupuncture needles?
You can just get those in quite big packs off of Amazon.
Off Amazon. Yeah. So acupuncture needles off Amazon. So
what I'm doing with this is I started off with a round shape, and I want to try and keep it in a round shape because that'll make the placement of it on the actual cake so much easier.
Well, I've had a top tip here. So Donna Jaffrey says, Carol, remember Rachel from Friends? It may help you remember, and of course Rachel is our friend.
Oh, yes, Donna.
Got loads of them giving me hints and tips here on how to remember you.
I told her to just put a sticky note on her iPad.
I've had that one.
But Simon and I said, should we have a bet as to how many times she gets it wrong tonight? And that was the first. She has called me Hannah twice since I arrived.
It's not a lot on.
I've told you I don't mind. It's just funny now. It's not.
Right, question. Can you add flavouring to fondant if you don't like the taste of fondant? I will tell you, you can knead in a bit of our icing sugar, but you need to be very careful because it can dry sugar paste out and make it crack. So I don't know about liquid fondant. Could you have liquid fondant in?
I've never tried, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe someone else in the group has, but it's not something I've ever done. So,
yeah. And don't panic today. Rachel has brought 2 cakes with her. She's going to do one on the pink board, on the pink board, because she's never used it before. She didn't even know what was on about when she got the icing sugar out. I went, hey, what are you doing with that? So she's doing one on the pink board. She's going to show you that for all you lovely ladies who've got the pink board and soon come in grey board. Don't forget you can pre-order your grey boards. And then we're going to move this out of the way, wipe this worktop down. She's going to do one on the worktop with icing sugar and talk you through that as well.
Which will probably stick like mad.
Which will probably stick like mad, yeah.
But that we're going to use the Renshaw one for. So as I'm going, I'm just picking it up and turning it so that it doesn't stick. So every now and again, and make sure that you are trying to keep it in. This rolling pin's really slippy. My hands keep slipping at me.
The pink boards are on our website. Now this one here is the largest one. This is the extra large one. So we do a large one, but the large one is half of the extra large one. And then we do a medium and a small. Now you don't want them for rolling out your sugar paste. They're just for like your modelling. If you're doing modelling paste, anything like that, because they're much smaller. The acupuncture needles are off Amazon, and you're just toy train under 500 people watching. So well done for all the like and shares, everybody.
Amazing.
Keep liking and sharing, but remember, don't share into the class groups. They get a bit fed up in there. And when you're a member of a class, you'll understand. You'll agree.
I'm just carrying on. If it gets to the point where it's a little bit big to pick up, just pop your rolling pin, roll it over, a bit like a pasty, and
what
move
do you think
it.
of that?
Like it?
Yeah. Karen Davies came and used it and fell madly in love with it. She couldn't wait, we were out of stock, she couldn't wait, she kept ringing me, is it in yet? Is it in yet? And then the day she came up, John forgot to bring it home. So we had to send John back to the warehouse to unlock it. She went, no, it's all right, it's fine. I said, John, she's waiting for us, go home.
Yeah.
And
How
then,
bad did you feel?
And then all the other tutors now that come in, they just absolutely love it.
I might have to pre-order a grey one.
Oh, it's your kitchen grey, is it?
No, it's black.
Oh, is it? Your black kitchen?
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit.
No, my son's got a black kitchen.
But it's black and like off-white and
yeah.
neutrals, but yeah, black unit fronts.
Rose Hobb says, is it just her or is there a lot of air bubbles in the fondant? God, she's got good eyes.
I know.
Are you in Zoom there, Rose? I can't bring in see now.
There are quite a few, but obviously that's because I've kneaded it quite a bit because we were talking, so I kept kneading it. You don't need to knead it quite as much as I did, but obviously I would have stopped kneading earlier and would have just cracked on with it. But because obviously this is the demo, we're a bit stop-start than what you would normally be if you were just doing it on your own in the kitchen. But yeah, obviously you do need to knead it, so you will, once you've kneaded it and conditioned it, you will likely get the odd air bubble, but it just depends how much you need it, and different brands might end up with different air bubbles as well, different amounts. But to be honest, no matter what brand I've used, I always do get them. So, but you can just as you go in, just get rid of them, and it literally doesn't leave any marks at all. It's brilliant. Whereas the scriber tool used to always leave marks, and then you'd be like, it's all you could see on your finished cake. So I roll mine out quite thin. So I roll mine out to about 3 mils.
A couple of questions for you. So how much fondant have you used there for your 6-inch cake? And your acupuncture needles, what size do they need? Because Barbara Ann Ford has ordered some, but she said they were very fine and she thought they were too fine.
Oh, I don't know. Mine is a Meglio brand, Meglio, and it just says sterile acupuncture needles.
There you go.
So I don't know, but that's the brand I've got.
And you're well over 500 now.
Amazing.
So well done.
How much sugar paste I've used, I don't know. I didn't weigh it out, but as you can see, it's bigger than what we need, and you always need to include a bit more than what you need. I'll weigh, if you've got some scales, I'll weigh the Renshaw one so that I can answer that question. But you always need to roll more than what you actually need. But once you cut the excess off, once you've got it on the cake, you just pop that straight into a Ziploc and you can use it again, so it doesn't go to waste. Now, when you first started using it, you might not be as confident to go quite as thin as that. Some brands you might find, some of the supermarket brands, you might struggle to go as thin as 3 mils. They are just a different quality, but it is, if you're wanting sharp edges, if you've got that thinness of 3 mils, it will be easier for you to get that sharp edge.
I do sell pastry spacers as well.
Yeah.
So have you used pastry spacers?
Yeah, but they don't go thin enough for this.
But mine are 3 mil.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Then yeah, you can absolutely use those.
So in case any of you don't know what pastry spacers are, if you like me rolling out paste, mine's all lumpy. You carry on. Mine's always lumpy. So if you put the spacers down, one each side, and then roll your paste.
Yeah.
And you can just keep rolling. The spacers move out, and you roll until your rolling pin is on the same level as the spacer.
So I'll just explain. I've got this rolling pin halfway across the sugar paste, and as I pick it up, I'm going to position it, making sure left and right it's even on both sides. And I've got enough at the front to cover right down to the bottom, and I'm just going to drape it over, okay? Then we're going to pay attention to the top first, get rid of any air that's under there, push it out the sides, and then with speed and urgency, you're going to secure that top edge all the way around. So that top inch
That's
you're
the
going to
biggest
get on the
secret,
cake.
isn't it? I think so many
Don't
people
faff.
start faffing around with the skirt part.
You've got to be ready to go and just
Yeah.
get that top edge on, and then gravity will stop pulling at that as much.
Yeah.
And it's less likely to then rip and
I
tear.
think I'm
on
just
this
beginning
bottom
to
edge.
click on that. I don't know how many demonstrations I've watched, but I think that's where I've been going wrong all my life. I start messing around with the skirt straight away.
Yeah. This is already, it's a really nice sugar paste, and I'm not even using the premium one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to try the premium one. I don't know what the cost is actually compared to.
I can't remember. So Hannah's, Rachel is using Select Island normal one, which is just this the Supreme, I think it's called, if I remember rightly. And then we've got the Platinum. Now she's never used it before, and I got her to use it. I've asked her to cover some dummies for me for demos when I'm doing live sometimes, because I want to do some drips, so I've asked to do them. So I gave her the platinum, and then tonight I gave her the select, and then tonight I gave her platinum. She went, "What's this?" Didn't say that on my box. So this is
been holding out on me.
Right. So this isn't the platinum you use.
No, this because it was already open. We just went
Yeah.
with the standard Select Island one. So you can see that we've got quite a bit of excess. You don't need that amount of excess. Don't worry, there's a plastic board under here. I'm not cutting onto the pink mat. But what we're going to do, now that's all out, and you see how these are the folds that existed further up the cake before, and we just kept fanning them out and spreading them down just with the flats of our hands. So we're not fingertips, we're not wanting to put any extra finger marks into this. If you do, it doesn't matter, your smoothers will see to them, but it just means you've got more work to do. So we're going to go around about 1/2 inch.
I love the terminology with our ladies here.
No, what did I say?
So the platinum is $19.99 and the bog standard is $15.99. I'll have you know it's Select Island Silk woven.
There you go.
Not bog
And how does
standard.
that compare to like Massa and stuff like that?
Oh, it's cheaper than that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice option actually, especially if you're doing like, because I tend to use Massa for my
And
wedding
it
cakes,
tastes
but
nice as well.
it
Have you
smells
tasted
nice.
it?
No, I don't
Smells
tend
nice,
to eat
taste
it.
You should.
Well, the cakes I'll eat, like the offcuts of cakes I eat, then I think I've got to draw the line somewhere, Carol. Okay, so the first set of smoothers we're going to do is the FMM. I love these ones, these are my go-to. Partly because they're not too big and cumbersome, like some of them are quite a bit bigger than this, so on a 6-inch or a 4-inch cake, they're a bit clumsy and you end up like moving them over the cake but not actually doing much. And also because I've got quite small hands, so they're not too unwieldy for me to use. But they've got a straight edge and a curved edge, and that's not for nothing. So the straight edge, we're going to go all the way around.
Right, so while you're doing that, can you answer questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you find it better to colour the sugar paste or put it on white and then use an airbrush?
I don't use an airbrush just because it's not. I've got one. It's just not something that I tend to use a lot of. But you
But
can
Rachel
do that.
is going to luster for you tonight.
Yeah.
So hold on.
So if you are colouring, so it depends what colour you're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to achieve like a pastel-y colour, you can absolutely go ahead and get that colour mixed in. I'm trying to do this the wrong way around so you guys can see it. But if it's a darker, more intense colour, I know there's paints that you can get that you can paint straight onto sugar paste. And what I would advise is that you do, if you are planning to do that, that you do some trial work. So what I tell my students is just to roll out some sugar paste on a board and just do different products and see which ones you like. But for darker colours, I tend to buy, so say for example if I was going for a really dark blue, I would buy a blue sugar paste in whatever brand I want to use, and then I would add some like darker blue colour into that and maybe a bit of black to really kind of take it a bit darker, and then that's my acupuncture needle, and then I would paint it afterwards just to get it to exactly the right tone that I wanted. Acupuncture needle, this always happens. Usually I put a bit of tape
right under your nose. You had it in a little bag just now. Did you put it in a little bag?
No, I don't think
Is
so.
it an eccentric thing?
No, that's the lid of it. So I've got another one. I'll find it in a second. Honestly, they elude me all the time.
I was going to say you had it in
I
your
usually put a bit of florist tape around the end so I can see it a bit more easily, but I'll find it in a minute and I'm like, oh, there it is. But I've just felt a little bit of air under that top bit there. So we've gone around the bottom just with that straight edge, just making sure that it's properly adhered right to the bottom. And then we're going to work everywhere. So it's a 2 motion, so I always use 2 of these, and we're going to pull up with this one and we're going to push out with this one until they meet. So this one comes up higher than the cake and this one comes out to meet it. I don't know if you need me to be further forward. So like this. And we're going to do that all the way around, making sure that this one, you're not doing it at an angle and you're keeping it straight. And as you go, any air bubbles that are in there, you can just very quickly get rid of. Okay, so we're going to pull up and we're going to push out. And you can already see that little section there is already so much sharper, and this section here is so much smoother on the side. So you carry on working your way around. Just going to wipe that off because it's a little bit sticky from the tracks.
If you are using your pink balls, ladies, and you ever wipe it down with a cloth, make sure you dry it afterwards, otherwise it won't work. You can't get sugar paste off a damp board.
It doesn't like it.
No. Rose Hobb says, don't you run the risk of making the sugar paste too thin with those smoothers?
No, I don't think so. As long as you've covered it to the point and you've not got any tears in it. If you've got some tears in it, then obviously that can happen. Or if you've like not rolled it like even. So if you're worried about that, use the spacers, you know, the rolling space that Carol was talking about earlier. But I'm quite used to sort of, I can pretty much gauge it level, being level all the way around.
I just wonder if when you picked up your sugar paste, you didn't pick up your acupuncture needle with that.
Probably. I'll check in a minute.
You know, if you put it down on one side, you might have picked up and chucked it in your bag.
This is why I usually put tape on it.
They don't miss out, these.
I know,
Tell you,
super helpful.
Super duper eyes, all of them.
Okay, so you can already see, hopefully, that, where are we on the camera? This section here is so much better, and already just with that little bit of work.
So these smoothers are FMM smoothers. They are on our website. I haven't checked how much stock we've got in actually, but they are FMM smoothers.
And they're not expensive, but I use them on every single cake.
I've got to be honest, a lot of people use them, don't they?
Yeah, I love them. I think they're
I just
definitely
can't get the fashion together. I just seem to...
That's what I'm like with bigger ones. So
right.
Some of them are bigger, and I'm just like clanking them together the whole time. And so the amount of pressure you need to put on here will depend upon how thickly you've rolled it or how thinly you've rolled it, and also the brand. So something like Massa is a little bit firmer than this. Renshaw is softer than this. So you might find that if you're switching between brands, you need to change the level of pressure that you perhaps put on there. Just popping a little bit of corn flour on my smoother there because it was just sticking a little bit.
So they're saying you make it look so easy. And do you find these smoothers better than the flexi ones?
So I will use the flexi ones as well. For me, they do different jobs. So this one is about moving the sugar paste where you want it to go. So moving it up and out and getting it into position, and then we'll go around the flexi smooths, we'll get out any final little lumps and bumps, and we'll just go and reiterate that sharp edge with the flexi smooths as well. But for me, they do slightly different jobs, if that makes sense.
And Caroline Smith is going to put you a picture on your Facebook page on how not to lose your acupuncture needle. She pops a little bit of craft foam over the edge and she'll pop you a picture over.
Excellent. I do usually put whatchamacallit, florist tape on it, but I don't know why I didn't. I should have done. So getting that sort of movement, getting comfortable with that movement. So I see some students almost just tickling it and not pushing it enough, not enough force. If you put too much force on it, you're going to end up with an overhang at the top. So you must get used to that level of force that you need for the particular brand that you're using and for the how thick or thin you've rolled your sugar paste. But rolling it out to a consistent thickness and getting confident with rolling it thin like a 3mm is perfect.
And Linda is very grateful for your happy birthday wishes and our happy birthday wishes, says her son, who I'm still chatting to. So don't be shy, Linda, you can say hi to us all, you know. I've had to ask him, I would never have known you were here because I don't see your name pop up. So get talking, girl, we're all friendly.
Has she had birthday cake?
Pardon?
Has she had birthday cake?
I don't know, you making your own cake or is Sean making you one?
That's what I always ask when it's someone's birthday. You have any cake?
Yeah.
No one ever makes me a birthday cake. You always find that like people who make cakes, no one ever dares make them a cake in case they judge you.
So Louise, if you go to YouTube and then look at Sugar and Crumbs and pop in Rachel's name, Rachel Hanna. Okay, when she was last here, she did a full session on ganache. I don't want to answer ganache questions tonight because we'll miss out on the sugar-based questions.
There's a couple of hours of it all answered.
Yeah, and she's done ganache. doing sugar paste, but also seriously consider about joining one of her classes as well. So she's got a class with us, Introduction to Wedding Cakes, £40. She's going to show you 2 wedding cakes, how to make some flowers, lots of other things. What are you going to tell them?
On the class?
Yeah.
We will be doing 2 different buttercream cakes. So we'll be doing one which is a semi-naked cake, 3 tiers, and one which is a 2-tiered textured buttercream cake. 2 really popular designs that I guess get asked about. I've been asked about them for years, still get asked about them. I took a booking for one this week. So I'm going to show you how I do those, but also talk you through, show you how I dowel them, how I stack them, how to store them, when to do things. So if you've got a wedding on a Saturday, when you should be doing, like what you should be doing each day.
I think that's a big problem. Ladies panic. They don't know when they should do them.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the naked cakes as well, that's great because if you don't do them right, they can be dry, aren't they? So, right, Tony O'Grady, who's from Australia, who is a regular follower of ours, says, do you just put corn flour on the smoothers? How do you get corn flour off navy, black or red fondant?
So, yeah, you can absolutely, depending upon whether this is condensating or not, you sometimes can get away without any corn flour on your smoothers, but you may well find that you need to put some on. If that is the case, and it's obviously then showing up on your finished, obviously on a white one it doesn't show up as much, but if you've got like a bold coloured cake, and it will show up, then first of all doing this stage will help remove a lot of that excess. So use the flexi smoothers. These are like what are they made? Like acrylic,
yeah,
or
acrylic,
so these don't really need any cornstarch or icing sugar. So this is almost like buffing the cake. So such a good word. So it will kind of remove any excess stuff that you put. Now you might have still some bits left. You can go ahead and steam the surface of the cake if you wanted. So if you've got a little, you know, the little portable plug-in electric steamers, you can use that, or you can brush it with a bit of clear alcohol, or you can even get a little bit of Trex, which I've done before on a black cake, and just coat your hands with it, and just lightly the day after, so let the sugar paste firm up overnight, and just lightly just brush your hands that are covered slightly with Trex, I mean really slightly, just brush it over, and it will kind of soak up any of the icing sugar or cornstarch that's left on there, and it will leave a little bit of a sheen on your sugar paste, but don't worry because that will then soak in and disappear. So I'm just using these. I'm using, again, choose a size that's proportionate to the tiers that you're doing. So they come in all different sizes. And what I like to do is get one with a curved edge to follow around the top here. And I'm just using the rectangular one on the sides to smooth off any divots, and you'll be able to feel any air bubbles that are still left in that, and you'll be able to feel the difference between a section that's had the flexi smoother on and a section that just had this on it, because it really does take off any of those small bits. And if you have any tears, or if you've accidentally poked a finger into it or anything like that, you should be able to work it with these and it will help get rid of that. Okay, so again we're doing a similar movement, so I'm doing a circular motion towards me. So I'm not just like rubbing backwards and forwards the whole time. I'm not wanting to like move the sugar paste anywhere. So it's very localized on that top edge. I'm not doing this. That's just polishing. What I'm doing around this top edge is this, and then backwards and forwards, just to secure that top edge. But on the sides, we're just giving it an all over smooth.
So smoothers, anybody? Normally I stock Barina's smoothers, which are brilliant. To be fair, I ordered them at the beginning of November, and then one batch got lost in the post apparently, and then Barina sent another batch, and then she developed COVID, and then I've not heard from her since Christmas. But you know, she has messaged me in January to give me an update that she'll be getting in touch with me soon, so I don't know where my smoothers are. So hopefully they'll be arriving soon. I have messaged her tonight to see where they are, and hopefully they are going to arrive in stock in the next few weeks. If not, I'm going to trot off and buy some smoothers from somewhere else for you. I'll get some recommendations off Rachel later.
So we're just carrying on working this round. Now obviously the bigger tiers will take you a bit longer to get round, so make sure that if you are charging for if you're doing cakes that you're charging for, that you factor in the difference between doing this on a 6-inch cake to the time taken for like a 10-inch or a 12-inch cake. The other thing that's worth noting is that if you were going to cover a tier, if you're going to do this and cover it with ruffles, you wouldn't need to spend as much time on this. So don't be spending time perfecting a surface on the sides that you're then going to completely cover. But what I would say is if you're going to luster it, I don't know if I mentioned this last time actually, but a couple of times before when we last using lusters, luster will show up imperfections. So please be mindful of that when you're like agreeing to do things for people. If you're not confident in getting a really nice finish, and you're the kind of person that's really going to bother if you luster it and you can all of a sudden see loads of marks in your sugar paste that you didn't believe were previously there, then perhaps don't be offering that to clients until you're a bit more confident that you can get that finish. Because I remember when I first started using lusters and I was like, oh my gosh, it looked all right before and now it just looks awful.
Right, Geraldine Allen says, does Rachel always use ganache under a sugar base, or does she use buttercream sometimes?
I always use ganache. So I pretty much just do wedding cakes, so it's a stability issue. A lot of my orders are in summer, and
it's right, that ganache will hold it, won't it?
So much better. Structurally they're better, they're at room temperature. The ganache still is firm, whereas buttercream is not. And my tiers are quite tall, so this is like my minimum height tier that I do, and I go taller, like 8-inch, even taller than that. So
how tall is this one?
This is about 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of my standard.
Yeah.
So it's 3 layers of cake inside, just like the ganaching. It's basically, I've done it exactly how we did the ganaching tutorial. Okay, so you can see that's starting to tear away from the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just take a knife, sharp knife, and cut round that bottom, making sure that I'm keeping the knife directly upright. I'm not cutting it at an angle because I don't want that sugar paste to disappear from the very bottom of the cake.
So Katie is asking here, but I do know Katie's new to cake decorating. Okay. She says, hi Rachel, that looks amazing. When I try to do anything with my fondant, I always rip it or mess it up, so I try not to mess around with it. Would there be a reason for it to tear every time, and what can I be doing wrong?
I don't know if they can provide some information about what brand they're using, or whether they're conditioning it with Trex before, kneading it, all of that, making sure it's perfectly pliable. And how thick they're rolling it. So I think if you, depending on the brand, it can
give you some clues from me because mine always tears as well. Before I use the pink board, I always use far too much corn flour or rice and sugar.
Definitely.
And therefore I always add elephant skin.
Yeah.
2, I always went straight for the skirt to sort out. I put it on the top.
Yeah.
Was so worried about stretching, I went for the skirt. I've now learned you've got to go to the top and secure that. 3, I tried to roll it far too thin, and in some places it was thinner than other places, and that's why it's ripping.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure it's even. See, I've learned. I've ripped plenty of them off.
So proud.
I'm still never doing a live on one though. I can do them, but I have to do them when I'm on my own and no one's watching. But watch this live again. If you've missed any of this live, watch it again. And like I say, Rachel is going to be doing the introduction to wedding cakes with naked wedding cakes, and then once she's done that, she's going to come back and do other wedding cake sessions. So they're going to be a series. So stick with her, you're going to learn it all, because if you go and have a look at her professional page, you'll know she's the best. Well, she's one of the best. I can't say she's the best.
I was going to say, I'll take that.
There's a few best out there. But no, in our area, you are the best, I think, aren't you?
I don't know if I can say that.
Not that I get married very often.
So we're just making sure that any knife marks around that bottom have disappeared. So use your Flexi Smoother to really do that. It's to a level that the normal smoother just doesn't doesn't really get to without a bit of extra pressure.
So Tracy's just asking that she finds ganache and fondant really sickly sweet. How can she combat that?
Not eat it.
Good answer. And you'll stay lovely and slim.
Don't have to eat it.
Yeah, you're making cakes for your customers, not for you.
So I do get some of my clients that say they're not mad keen on it, and some of them, you know, will opt for the buttercream cakes, which we're doing next month. But some of them have only ever had like the really thickly rolled sugar paste. You know, sometimes you get it on a birthday cake and it's really thickly rolled on a birthday cake, whether you've bought that from someone or you've got it from the supermarket. But it's not going to taste like, it's almost pure sugar, so it's not going to taste lovely, a just really fat piece of sugar paste. Whereas this is a really slim slither of icing. Once you cut it, you'll see that it's actually a really thin layer. But also what I do say to my clients is once it's cut, so for weddings in particular, the cakes, you're not cutting like a coffee shop's kind of style wedge of cake. What you're cutting is the cakes will get cut into a grid, and they'll get cut into finger portions, which is 1 inch by 1 inch. Now this has got 3 layers of cake inside. So once it gets cut, you'll get a long thin piece of cake with a tiny slither, like 1 inch by 1 inch piece of ganache on top and 1 inch by 1 inch of sugar paste, and it literally can just be taken off on the top, a bit like what you do like if you don't like icing when you've got a fruit cake, you just take it off the top. So it's that way up between being like wanting to eat icing but not enjoying how sugar paste tastes, in which case you might go for a buttercream cake, and actually thinking, well, I can still eat the cake and not have to worry about eating the ganache and the sugar paste. But actually the sugar pasted finished cake allows me a lot more flexibility when it comes to decoration that buttercream doesn't.
Do you ever use water ganache?
No, I don't tend to. The only time I would do is if it's like a dietary requirement for a client. But as standard, I just use the chocolate and cream version. It's tried and tested, I know it well. But I've made ganaches with like coconut milk and things like that for clients when they've had dietary requirements for it.
Karen Naylor said she keeps seeing a big bubble on top of your cake, and then she realises, no, there isn't.
Oh.
She realises it's when you stop talking, you leave the smoother there. Nearly had heart failure then.
I was like, oh, what? Usually by now you'd have felt any big bubbles. So, but you do just need to go back and check.
Is this cake for anybody?
No.
Well, why don't we, after this, why don't we cut it?
Yeah.
And because I'll give it to the lads at work.
Yeah.
Why don't we cut it and then they can see how thin it is? Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So then you'll see afterwards. So because this is real cake, not a dummy. Okay. And then what you'll see then is how thin the sugar paste is and why it's worth all the work. And also, I'll get her to just mark it as well to show you how to cut a cake.
I don't usually do that bit, Carol.
No, you don't do that bit.
I walk away and leave that bit to other people. And obviously the amount of time that you have to work with this before it starts to not want to move where you want it to will depend on, I mean, it's quite, I don't know, but I'm quite warm, but it is quite warm in here.
Yeah, I'm freaking freezing.
Are you?
Yeah.
This was the same as last time when I was Scotch, yeah. Oh dear.
You are working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. We're just sat here.
You're scrolling.
You're very quiet tonight, Simon. Are you alright?
We're all mesmerised, aren't we?
You're mesmerised.
Yeah.
I'm more mesmerised in that beard that you've not sorted out yet.
Oh,
It's a shocker. What do you think of his beard, Rachel?
Well, he's
It's
got a
shocker,
face
isn't
mask
it?
on, so
Oh,
I've
he's
not
got a
seen
face
it
mask on. I
today.
wondered why he had it on all the time when he came in.
He's
'Cause
starting to
allowed
feel a
take-
bit ashamed
He's
of it,
allowed to
Simon.
take it off behind the camera, you see. What are you going to do with it? You need to sort
I'm
that
going to
out.
diet when I get
I
back.
think you've made him feel so self-conscious he don't show it anymore.
He don't show it anymore. It's a shocker. It's about to divide in two. Is that your mask that made it go all funny like that? He squiffed the other way the other day and he said that's because he had it tucked in his mask.
Yeah, I took it in sometimes.
So I'm just getting down to eye level with the cake, because what it can look like from the top can be fine. And then once you get down to eye level, you might spot the odd thing. So make sure you do that. Also, the other thing that I usually do, which I haven't done with this cake because we're demoing it and I didn't have time today, was usually I'll just check it with a spirit level to make sure it's level. This is slightly off on this one, but it's fine.
So Maureen's upset everybody. I don't know what she's done, but she's offended all the people who wears varifocals.
Whoops.
I wear varifocals, albeit God knows why, because I can't see with my glasses on. I can't see with them off.
Who saw that coming? Excuse the pun.
What
I
did
said, who saw that coming? Excuse the pun. Like, what a weird conversation.
I don't know if we're having a conversation about varifocals. I've missed it because I'm concentrating on the live tonight.
I saw you getting distracted in Jerry's live the other day.
What was I doing in Jerry's
I
live?
can't remember, but you got really distracted by something. And you were like, I'm going to have to stop looking at my phone.
I have to stop reading this. See, the thing is, you have to answer. I have to keep into. There's thousands of comments on here, Rachel, that I've missed, and then some people get a little bit cross if you don't shout the comment out.
Yeah.
Like you'll get a person say, "I've asked this question 3 times," so I have to try and look for those because I want to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
And then, to be fair, our audience is very good because I'm just checking. I'm about to answer some questions, and our audience has answered for us.
Oh, perfect.
See, they're all good little team of workers. They are.
Yeah.
Our team. Oh, while we're on here, have you all signed up for TikTok? So everybody who signs up for TikTok, if you sign up for TikTok and then the next time you place an order, in the comments, put what your TikTok handle is and TTF, I think it's called that, TikTok. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure he said TTF. Anyway, write TikTok and then what your handle is to say that you are following us, and then you can get a free bag of icing sugar. Now, the reason we want you to do that is we want to do lives on TikTok, but we can't do them until we get 1,000 followers. So I need all of you. Now, there's 500 you've been watching tonight. Go and get signed up for TikTok. Dead easy. Even I signed up.
I am not on TikTok.
I
didn't know that you couldn't do lives
You
until...
can't do lives until you got 1,000 followers.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Pardon?
That's a bit sad.
I don't know who John expects to do these lives. I mean, he's got us doing enough on Facebook. Now he's got us on TikTok.
So will you have to do it different, or will you just be able to post it, you know,
I
like...
think it's a bit different we have to do.
Oh, Lord.
And the grey board should be in mid-February. So if you want to put your £25 deposit on your new grey board, on your big one, and bringing in the large one, the size down, and the very small sugar craft board as well. I've not put them on the website. I'll wait till they come in stock.
Is that they're taking longer because they're coming from Europe and we're not part of Europe anymore?
I can't get anything from Europe.
Oh my gosh, I keep seeing loads of people that have been like informed of massive charges and stuff.
Yeah, well we've had a load of charges, far bigger than what we were expecting.
Yeah.
And like all our icing sugar bags arrived, and our cost that normally comes, it's treble the amount.
Wow.
And then we've just sent some stuff to Belgium and it's just been refused. So we sent it on Friday and they brought it back. They're not dispatching. So it's just a bit of a nightmare.
So what's the issue with sending then? I didn't realise there was an issue with sending
Because
stuff.
what's happened is everybody had all their tariffs and everything sorted out for going abroad and coming into the country. And then with everything being so last minute, all those tariffs aren't applied, they're all new. So when they get in there, there's complications with the paperwork. So like DPD now have just shut the door and said they're delivering in the UK at the moment, but they're not delivering out of the UK until they can sort the backlog out. How dare you? So I'm just catching her in comments. She says, is that because you need a slice, Carol? Well, I tell you what, we won't freaking cut the cake tonight then. Keep it whole. We won't show them.
No, it's a vanilla sponge with orange blossom buttercream.
Oh, well, maybe we will cut the cake.
So that's our first one done. So I don't know let people decide whether you want me to do some decoration on this one and then move on to the second one, or whether you want me to cover the second one and then do some decorations on both.
Right.
Let me know.
Them again. You know, it's a bit hard when you give them options.
Okay.
Option
Option
one. Just do what you want.
They're all telling me not to give you options. Option 1 is for me to crack on and use Renshaw on the second cake, cover another cake.
But not using the pink board.
Yeah, not using the pink board, just using corn flour. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we'll come on to do some decorative bits.
Because then we're keeping it all in line then, aren't we?
I might find a
That's the same
acupuncture
questions.
needle under here.
Yeah.
There it is. I did check in my sugar paste and it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Put that, just put it on the, just lean it up against the side there.
It's alright, I can fit it on here. Just...
Hey, watch my
I
thingy
will be
nice
very...
amount. Already broke one.
I'll be careful. There we go.
There you go.
So, we're going to do the same with this second cake. And you can see I can touch these. They've been at room temperature for about an hour or so, if not more. And I can touch them and it's absolutely fine. I'm going to pop it on the board. The first thing I'm going to do is give it a light coating of Trex so that it's ready for when we roll out. So when we roll out, remember I want to get it straight onto the cake. I don't want to be faffing about with it. And it's a nightmare because when you, this always happens to me, when I've got sugar paste rolled out on the counter, I get a delivery. I'm like, oh God. If that happens, just pop some cling film over it, just so that it's not starting to sort of firm up as you're dealing with whatever, whether it's a delivery or kids or anything, any phone call. I know some people like get phone calls and they completely forget that they've got sugar paste rolled out on the worktop and they come back to it an hour later.
I know, that's
what I was doing.
Yeah.
You're always supposed to be doing something.
There's a little riot going on here. I should be making you shave your beard off, Simon. To be fair, if you lot saw this beard, he should be shaving it off. It's a shocker.
I feel like I need to see the beard before I leave.
Simon is stockpiling his beard.
It's not that bad. Oh. Sorry. No, I didn't see.
Yeah.
So his face is behind a computer screen.
Yeah.
That's where he does all his magic. And I didn't think it was that bad. And then he raised his face.
There you go.
Beyond,
I didn't think
beyond
it
the
was
screen. And I was like, oh.
So it's not just me being nasty, is it?
No.
See, the thing is,
Is it
when
just
he,
the colour
when he
that-
does it, well, it just
Yeah,
needs
I'll
to
do
trim
the
it up.
colour.
Yeah.
I'll sort the
Yeah,
colour.
but you need to know
Don't panic. Nobody panic.
the colour and a trim up.
Nobody panic.
So there's
I'll
none
sort
left.
it out.
A goat beard.
A goat beard.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those little things.
That's what I've got.
You haven't got a goat beard, that's a goat's head. You've got on there. Ears as well.
So this is the Renshaw. So we are using the Renshaw Premium Cover Paste, which I think you said was like the premium version of
Yes.
Renshaw, isn't it? So
Yeah, the cover paste is excellent. You know, a lot of you don't know about the cover paste. There's the premium cover paste. It's called covering paste or cover paste. There's a premium version and a standard version. But again, it's excellent as well. So, Simon, Claire Corbett. She said, I've got to put her class on the website. Simon, I think I'm going to dye my hair red again. Next time she's back in, we could twin it and dye it together. Oh, isn't that lovely, Claire?
That is very nice.
see,
Yes, that's very nice.
she's even prepared to
Listen,
dye her hair again
Claire,
to get
I
to
can't
sort
wait
it
till you're in to do that class. It best be sorted by Thursday.
So if you can just see, it was quite bitty, this sugar paste before. It was all just ripped out of the pack that it comes in, but it was quite bitty. And I've just put some Trex on the worktop and I'm just kneading it just like I did before. Have you got any scales to hand? I'll just weigh this.
They're down there. Can you see that silver set there?
Yeah. I'll just pop them on the scales to see. This is more than you would actually need to cover the cake. And what I've noticed is that on sometimes you see these guides of how much sugar paste you need per tier, and sometimes I think that's not very much at all, and it's because that's how much physically is literally to cover the tier, and what you need to roll out is perhaps a bit more than that, so that you've got that excess and you can, you know, you're not having to place it like specifically on. And if you're slightly off centre or slightly too far forward or slightly too far back, you're going to end up with it all on one side and not enough at the other end. So if you add some extra in when you're rolling out, then it just gives you a bit more flexibility with when you're putting it onto the cake, so that you don't end up with any uncovered patches.
But when I first started cake decorating, I did something so bad that I now realise is that when cake decorating, I used to roll it all out into a circle and then fold it all over, mould it back together and roll it in again. So my problem there is I was having too much air, too much corn flour, or icing sugar, whatever I was using, and therefore creating massive big bubbles.
When I first started, I would knead it with icing sugar, and you're just literally drying it out. So
yeah,
you can knead it with the Trex, and it will make it more pliable. Like, it gives it that nice stretch that you can see there.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just, you should be able to pull it and it actually stretch rather than pull and just break off. Yeah. There's a little air bubble gone. So, back into the circle. We got some of them. So that's 1 kilo, but you don't need that much to actually cover it. You saw from before, I just ripped an amount out of the bag just for this demo, but you don't need quite that much. And obviously, if you are rolling thin like me, then you can get more out of each pack, which is great. Okay. The other thing is, I think, especially if you're using ganache as a base, you can roll thinner because you've got something firm underneath, and you can't see those like bulges between, because the difference in firmness between the layer of cake and the layer of buttercream is really quite apparent if you've got thin sugar paste. Whereas obviously if you've got the ganache, it's all the same consistency, and so you can go for a thin layer. Okay, so like I said, I've got corn flour on here. You can use icing sugar, but I very much prefer corn flour. It's finer. I used to get actually, I found it quite abrasive on my hands when I was doing a lot of cakes, icing sugar, and it does, different brands of icing sugar, some of them are an absolute nightmare for like solid bits in it. Not solid, but you know, clumps, I guess that's what they're called, not solid bits. But some of it clumps quite a lot compared to other brands. So we're just doing the same as what we did before.
Under your ganache, do you put buttercream?
Yeah, so there's on the ganache tutorial, we did like a crumb coat of buttercream. But you can crumb coat with ganache if you wanted, which is all explained in the other demo we did.
Any questions about ganache? If you go to our YouTube channel, Sugar and Crumbs, with Nifty Nozzles, go to the channel and then search Rachel Hanna. Her last live was all about ganache, so I don't want to answer too many questions in here about ganache. I've just been told by a lady to get on with it, so I'm getting on with it.
Gosh.
Yes.
Could I ask you to just...
Sorry, yeah. See, I don't know where I'm at now, there's no pink board. There's no point of reference. Need a big X marks the spot. So those big air bubbles we're getting rid of at this stage, so that hopefully by the time we put it on the cake, what remains is only like any air that's sort of trapped between the cake and the sugar paste, rather than air bubbles actually in the sugar paste itself. But we're trying to keep it in as round a shape as possible. Do you know what? You know, I was saying that this corn flour is really fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's like silky smooth on your hands, which is making this really slippery, and I'm like, maybe icing sugar would be good.
So going back to your beard, how long does beard colouring last? Because they want it red for Valentine's Day.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they can have it red for
You
Valentine's.
may as well get it red now, aren't you?
That'll be gone
Let's
by
get in
then.
the mood.
It's too soon.
Do you recommend a certain brand, Simon? Do you have a go-to brand of hair dye? Maybe the ladies can suggest one that's going to last longer.
I just use directions. Don't know.
I don't know how long it was supposed to last, really.
Yeah, don't worry about Trex. You can't taste Trex. It's a vegetable fat.
And there's it's like shortening.
You can't even taste it in your buttercream. I know some of you say you can, you can't. It does give a slightly different texture, but you can't taste it really.
But there's usually, I think there's vegetable fat in your sugar paste anyway, isn't there? As part of the, so you're just adding it. You're not adding anything untoward into it. Okay, so we're ready to go. So you just see me there running my hands around, and I'm just checking. That's my little sense check that I've not got any thickness over this side and super fine over this side. So I've been doing that routinely throughout, just to check that I've not got any unevenness in my thickness. One last air bubble there. There we go. Okay, so then we fold over like a pasty or a calzone pizza, whichever one you're most familiar with. And then, am I alright positioning wise?
Yeah.
And then we're popping it even left and right, making sure I've got some on the front, draping it over. We're getting straight into that top edge, smooth the top, Get straight into securing that top inch, using the flats of your fingers, don't be prodding it. Get all the way around as quick as you can. Don't be dilly-dallying with this bit. You need to be putting this on when you've got the time to just crack on and do this step all in one. Can't be walking away at this stage. Or if you do, whoever's made you walk away, tell them off.
Jackie Adamson says, don't touch the beard. That's Jackie Adamson banned from the live.
Why is she such a fan of the beard?
It's her son who's a fan of the beard.
Oh.
Tell him get in the other room. We're having a chat with Simon here.
Maybe he feels like we're ganging up
no
on
fans
Simon.
for Simon in here.
Aww.
Well, not any beard fans anyhow.
So here I've just got a slight little tear, so I've just repaired it with my hands for now, and we'll get rid of any sign of it with the Flexi Smoothers. Okay, so we're going to cut the excess off. Bear in mind I've got the board underneath, so leaving about 1/2 inch.
Just a quick question, have you got a cake card under the cake?
Yes. Yeah, so you can use a cake drum, or on these ones I've used a double thick cake card. So it's a 6-inch cake with a 6-inch double thick cake card, and then 6.5-inch ganaching plates. Bob's your uncle. Okay. So let me just weigh what was left, what I cut off the excess there. It's probably about half of it. Now you don't need to use a kilo because it was too much. So yeah, it was about 500 left there, just over. So you could probably roll out with something like 700 easily. You'll be fine. Okay, so step 1, using these smoothers, so we're pulling up and pushing out. So pulling up with this one, pushing out with that. And this is a bit softer than the last one, so I'm just adjusting. So I don't know if you can see there. Can you zoom in on that, Simon?
No.
But you can just see there, I've just been a bit overzealous there, and it's just kind of gone a little bit too much. So we're just going to fix that straight away, just by rubbing those together. A little bit less pressure required on this brand than the Select Island one. But other than that, it's the same process. Using that straight edge of the smoother to go around the bottom and really kind of secure this edge here. So we don't want it just loosely connected, we want to be using this straight edge to secure that bottom. This is definitely a messier way than using the pink board, Carol.
Oh, so you've now realised the benefits of the pink board. Nice, that pink board.
I wasn't in
isn't it?
denial about it, I just didn't know. It's like a revelation.
To be fair, Karen Davies said the same, and I think Claire Corbett said the same. Jerry loves it as well. I think once you've used it, it's like...
Yeah.
I remember Jerry using it. She threw a load of icing sugar over it. I went, hey, what are you doing? You should have really covered your cake. I said, not on that pink board, you know. Get the icing sugar off. And then she was amazed that it worked. She was like, oh.
That's good. Okay, so we've just got a little air bubble at the top there, get rid of that. So this one, because it's softer, it's easier to manipulate, you don't need as much pressure. So it's easier to get into that position of the sharp edge using these smoothers. But just be mindful to not apply too much pressure. Like I say, you will have to adjust it if you're switching between brands, you'll feel it. So I'm pulling up with this one, pushing out with this one. So what I see some students doing is pulling this up and going over like this with the top one. You don't want to do that. This one comes up and blocks this one from pushing that sugar paste out and creating a lip over the edge. So this one comes up and stops this one. So don't be doing this. This one blocks it and stops it going any further. Okay, so just carry on working your way around. Checking from the side angle that we're still straight up and down from the side, which we'll do a final check of at the end anyway, when we get down to eye level. Do you know, sugar pasting cakes is one of my least favourite jobs, I've got to say.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I've just given you 20 cakes to cover.
I don't mind so much with dummies. I don't know, because you can just do them whenever
Yeah.
you need to do them. But that thing of like, oh, I've got 8 tiers to do today, and it's like,
well, it's not actually thin coat of buttercream, then you've got a ganache and then you've got to cover them.
yeah. So typically I would do the buttercream and ganache in one day, let the ganache set, and then sugar paste the next. But so yeah, I don't mind the buttercream and ganache, even though it's messy, but or can be messy. But the sugar paste, and I don't know, I'm always glad when it's done. Let's just say that. And then I can just look at them and I'm like, oh, so much.
Which paste do you find better there, the cover or the premium or the Select Island?
This one's cracked a little less
Right.
on the edges, but that might just be because I conditioned it a bit more, like I worked with it quicker, whereas at the beginning with the Select we were doing a bit more stopping and starting, so I think that one's cracked a little bit on the edges, which you would see if we lustered it, so we might luster this one instead. And do the border on that one, because there's but I'll see if we can pick that up on the camera in a bit when I show you the two together, because that's the difference between sort of once you've conditioned it, you need to crack on and use it, or pop it in a Ziploc bag to keep it airtight, which obviously it was sat on the counter for a little while we were chatting and introducing things. So whenever you're not using it, pop it in a Ziploc bag, you can come back to it. And your spare stuff that your offcuts that you've popped back in the Ziploc bag, squeeze all the air out of your Ziploc bag, pop it back in the tub, but make sure it's wrapped. And if you're wrapping it with cling film or something like that, make sure it's like really secure. And when you come to use it again, just condition it the way we did here. So just start again with it. So you might find if you've used a lot of corn flour or icing sugar that it needs a bit more conditioning, so a bit more tracks to bring it back to, to usability on your recycled bits.
Right, I'm freaking freezing me. I'm going to go make myself a cup of coffee.
I can't believe you're freezing, I'm boiling.
I am frozen to death. Louisa Paris says, would you use buttercream to sandwich the cake when using ganache to cover?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I've done. So I've layered it with buttercream, I've crumb coated it with buttercream, and then I've done the ganaching tutorial. So yeah, a lot of people are scared of ganache and they're scared of sugar paste, but
I agree with you, I'm scared of ganache. But I will tell you, my daughter always did sugar paste and buttercream. Then she moved over to ganache and she won't go back now.
Me neither.
She does exactly what you do, a thin coat of buttercream in between the layers, thin coat, then ganache.
yeah, works a treat. I know so many people that do that. Most most wedding cake decorators will do absolutely that. It doesn't, you don't get any nasty surprises. It's really easy to get like a solid finish on it, because as you're putting pressure on it with the smoothers, it's not pushing, I've just spotted an air bubble on that camera. It's not pushing buttercream anywhere, which at room temperature, especially in the summer in a heat wave, it can be really squidgy. And I remember way back when I first started, and I was just doing buttercream, before ganache became like a commonly used thing on cakes that I was aware of anyway. I had cakes that I buttercreamed, and it was in the middle of a heat wave and I had no air conditioning, and literally I watched as the buttercream oozed out from under the sugar paste, and I was in such panic. This was for someone's wedding. I was in such a panic, and I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I had to redo it the whole thing. I went online and ordered an air conditioning machine, from one of those companies that delivers the next day. I think it was Appliances Online or somewhere. Got the aircon on, redid it in buttercream, but I still was never happy. You could see all the bulges, and I mean, the customer didn't notice, because obviously the buttercream wasn't pouring out the bottom, but it was in a heat wave, and buttercream was just useless.
Lots of people here saying that they're scared of ganache.
No, go watch the tutorial. I've had people contact me after the live we did and said every batch they've made since we did it has worked out perfectly, and honestly, go watch it and give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? You might love it. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the Flexi Smoothers. But you can already see how we've completely transformed that just using the normal smoothers. I'm going to go and cut this trim off.
So you might have seen that, some of you may not have noticed, but you might see that Rachel is actually cutting onto a large ganache plate. What's that? Is that a 14 inch or 12 inch?
Yeah, it's 14.
So it's a 14 inch ganache plate, and she uses that for sitting her cake on. She got both cakes on them, so I know a few people have asked me what it is, so it's the large ganache plates.
But you could use a cake board, or you can, like a spare cake board, or a kitchen chopping board. Just make sure you've got a cake set and not one that you've been like putting chicken up on.
So do you leave your ganache out, or do you put it in the fridge once you've made it?
So I personally set it in the fridge, set it up in the fridge. I have my fridge set on the minimum setting, so it's as mild as I can get it. It's not super cold, because I don't want to be freezing the ganache. Because you can crack your ganache, it can form cracks in the side. So I have it on the mildest setting. I set it up in there. Now I personally leave mine in there because I don't have, we moved house recently, I don't have a separate cake kitchen anymore. I have a separate cake fridge, but I just don't want them out on the side, so I just leave them in the fridge, but I have the fridge set on like the mildest temperature. But you don't have to do that unless we're in a heat wave, and then you're probably going to want to leave them in there overnight. But leave them in the fridge initially for the first couple of hours to let them set up, and obviously you've got to get your ganache plates then off, so it needs to set for you to get the ganache plates off. So after you've then taken the ganache plates off, you're fine leaving it at ambient just on the worktop. But I will advise, for me it's safer out the way. If you've got a dog at home or anything like that, or kids, they will go for them if you leave them on the side. I've heard all sorts of things where people's kids and pets have like thought, oh, what's that? And just had a go at it, taking a big chunk out of it or a big handful out of it. So it depends on your situation as to where you want to leave them. And obviously if you're in a hot country anyway, if you're in a warmer country or in the summer months, you might want to just leave them in there. But if you're putting it in your own fridge and you've got other things in there, make sure there's nothing that's going to taint the flavour of your cake. So things like onions and stuff, your cake will absorb the flavour of onions, and I've tasted cake that has absorbed when I used to work somewhere else, that's absorbed the flavour of onions and garlic and stuff that's been in the same fridge as cake, and it is not nice. So please be mindful of that. Which is why I have a separate cake fridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true that though, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't believe
giving somebody a garlic cake.
I couldn't believe how strong the flavour was.
Yeah.
Somebody coming to it was when I worked in a garden centre and there was a cafe restaurant, and the chef came and said, "There's something wrong with this cake, but I don't know what's happened to it." And I was like, "Where have you had it stored?" And it just tasted. It was like an onion flavoured cake. It was not nice. The whole lot went in the bin. Okay, so just as we were doing before, we're using the square one on the sides, the rectangular on the sides, just to buff the whole side area. And you will be able to, I don't know if anyone's used these before that's watching, but you will be able to feel the difference. It's much smoother than a bit that I've not used it on yet. And I'm concentrating, I always stick my tongue out, so I'm sorry if I'm doing that.
At least you admit it.
I'll just warn you now. And then I always end up with really sore lips, and I realise why, and I've been sticking my tongue out all day with sugar pasting cakes.
Oh, I'm so cold.
I can't believe it, Carol. I'm absolutely roasted. You need like a blankie or one of those
I know.
what do you call them? That slankets or something.
A poncho or something.
Yeah. We need to get you on with a slogan on it, like winging it, or that you can wear for you when you're on comments.
And it's only when I'm on comments, you're quite right though, when you're there. I think also you've got those lights on top of you as
Absolutely,
well.
the lights make a big difference, don't they?
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Eh?
Psychologically.
Yes, psychologically. Come on, come out with your clever remarks now, Simon. See, he's got to put in.
Why do they not let any heat on?
They're LED lights, they don't let out
Simon's
heat.
like, what are you two on about?
They're LED lights, they don't let out heat, and I know that.
I didn't. I was like, what are you on about psychologically? And then I thought,
You're dying to say something.
is it because? It must just be because I'm working then.
Yeah, of course. Well, you are working out.
Only my legs should be cold, but they're doing nothing.
To be fair, Georgie's just said a good thing. You need a hot water bottle.
Yeah, you do.
And it's good for my back. But I've got a hot water bottle, so that's a good point actually.
I love a hot water bottle.
I haven't used one for years. In fact, this one's been in the cupboard since the kids were little.
Oh,
Bearing in mind they've all left home now and grown up and got kids. I shall go and dig it out.
Are you using heat on your back rather than ice? Do you find that's
Pardon?
what works? Are you using heat on for your back or
I
rather
haven't
than
used
ice?
anything for my back.
Oh.
I know my back is in so much pain.
Speaking of acupuncture, I have acupuncture in my back every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. It saved me. I still get twinges and stuff, but it's more like preventative every month now. Go and see, and she just does it right across right across my back at the bottom. Real. So this motion here, where I'm doing a circular motion right at the top edge towards myself, so that it's a bit like rubbing your head and patting your stomach or whatever, patting your head and rubbing your stomach. Some people struggle with that coordination, but keep at it, it will click. And like I said before, obviously, if you're going to be then covering this tier, so for example, if I'm doing like ruffles on a tier, like, you know, completely covering it with sugar ruffles, I wouldn't be spending all this time. I'd focus on my top edge, but I wouldn't be worrying whether there was odd marks on the sides or anything. You just, because it's pointless, it's a waste of your time. It's going to be completely covered. That coffee smells nice. I don't drink coffee, I don't like it, but I love the smell of it. There's something quite comforting about the coffee smell, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just about done on this one. I'm just going to go down to eye level and check that we've not got any problems. I've got a few little raised bits. I'm just going to, just where I've pushed up a little bit too much, I'm just going to level those off. And this side bit here isn't quite level either, so I'm just going to go around and check any bits that need a bit of finishing. This bit here. Keep knocking that same
So
bit.
don't forget to keep liking and sharing, everyone. I hope you're enjoying this. What do you think of it all? You all seem very positive. Come on. Oh, once you upset me, that's it. I'm upset.
Why are you
What have I done?
upset?
Oh, you've not upset me.
Oh, right.
No, I don't particularly like being told to get on with it.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
That's quite rude, isn't it? I've asked her to ask me what she wants me to get on with, but she hasn't bothered to respond. I think that people need to remember this is a free demonstration.
Hello.
I actually give up my Mondays and Thursday nights.
Come into you free of charge.
Exactly.
Most people are super lovely though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So always go down to eye level and check your cakes. Like when I do this with my students and they go to, I say, right now go down to eye level and check it. And they're always amazed at little bits that they like thought looked absolutely fine.
Yeah, her exact words were, for crying out loud, get on with it.
Maybe she was meaning me.
Well, I don't care who she was meaning. I'm not speaking to us like that. I won't have it. So,
Was it early on? Was it right at the beginning?
I don't know when it was. People need to remember this is a free live. Everybody, I try to shout out questions for everybody, and I try to get answers for everybody, and I'm messaging everybody, and everybody else is helping each other, and you're working your guts out there, as is Simon is with his 2 fingers. So,
That sounded so wrong.
well, he sometimes uses 3 fingers.
Take from that or whatever you will. Oh dear.
I get it all the time.
No, I am awful at
I'm
it.
clearly using 3 fingers.
It's because he's so busy telling us how to do things right that we have to get back at him.
Right, so there's our 2 tiers covered. So the bits that I cut off from around the very bottom, part way through, so not the bits that I cut off right at the beginning, they're quite dry, so I always throw those little bits away, but from the 2 cakes, that's all I'm throwing away. You could, if you wanted to keep it, and like you could perhaps cover your board with it, but you'd struggle a little bit depending on how long it's been out and how long it's taken you to cover your tier. You can feel it is starting to get a little bit past it.
Oh, that's a good comment. She can always watch it back as fast as she wants.
Yeah. Fast forward me if you like. Jeez, thanks.
That's true though, really. If you do miss something or it's not fast enough, wait till tomorrow, and then the live's on here and it's on YouTube, and skip all the bits that you don't want to know. The part of the reason we do lives is part of entertainment as well. It's more meant to be a relaxing night. It's meant to be, it's not a class this. It's actually a demonstration that's given out to an audience, and it's an audience that we've built up, and it's meant to be a friendly group audience. And once you get me on one, I'm on one, and I'm on one at the moment. The comment was not very nice. I know, but it was a really bad comment, Simon. I know.
I'm not going to let it ruin my night.
No, we're not going to let it ruin our night.
Don't let it
Don't
get to
forget
you.
your rubber.
Oh yeah, it's here.
Let's get the pink board back.
Pink board's coming back, people.
Pink board always makes us happy. Right, so come on, let's get those love hearts up for Rachel. She's working frigging hard, isn't she?
Okay.
May not be fast enough for some, but she's working very hard. She's got a good sweat on.
Come on.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Get on with it,
Simon's
come on.
started having a go now. Rude, Simon. Okay, so we're going to, so here are the 2 finished cakes. So as you're working on them, you might see the odd little thing. You can always go back with your smoothers. So there'll come a point at which you can't really anymore. So definitely the next day you'll struggle to get any, if you see any bits out. What I always say to people is, whatever light you've worked in, try and then move them to like another section of the space, because different lights and daylight and things will show up different things. And always, I know we're covering these at night, but always I'm like stroking them. This is
I think you should stroke them, because I think you've done a cracking job there.
I'm checking.
Yeah.
Because I always cover my cakes in daylight, because whenever I do them at night, usually, obviously we've got really good not giving out heat lights here, but usually in your normal house you wouldn't have lights this bright, so what you'll find is that you don't see half the marks, and then you'll come to look at the next day and you'll be like, oh my God, it didn't look as bad as that yesterday. And that happens to me every
I've got a tip
time.
for you though. Put your torch on your phone and just go around your cake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So put your torch on your phone, just go around your cake, you'll spot it.
Yeah.
Yep, so let's give Rachel loads of love hearts, show their support. And as you all know, we've been here all through COVID, doing lives every day, supporting our community very happily. And you're quite right, I've never seen the woman comment before. And she's not commented back, so maybe she's buzzed off and gone and asked somebody else to get on with it.
I hope she's not in my group.
Pardon?
Hope she's not in my group.
Well, I've taken a screenshot of her name.
Oh
so I
good,
can just tell you.
we'll have a
It's
chin
not
wag
that.
after.
It's not that, there's just no need for that. We've got a very good community here watching.
Yeah.
Everybody's full of positivity, everybody's asking sensible questions. And quite rightly, I can't get to everybody's question because you'll never get any work done. But I'm
No.
trying to pick and choose. And that's why I'm shoving the ganache questions to go and watch the last live.
There's
That's why we
loads
did
of
it.
information on the ganache live that we did. Right, so I'm just going to luster this one. I'm just going to centre that a little bit.
Torch on your phone. So on your phone, you all have a torch, don't you? So press the light, and then just shine it on your cake.
So on this one, we're using the it's Cahill, isn't it? Cahill.
Cahill.
Yeah, I never pronounced it right. And it's the sorbet. So this is the luster dust, and then we're mixing it with some rejuvenated spirit or dipping solution. So this is a really high percent. I think it's like 96-98% alcohol. Use this for your luster over something like vodka that you've got at home. I know it's handy because you might have it to hand, but this isn't massively expensive. And it will dry so much quicker. So because it's much higher alcohol content, I think standard alcohol is like in its 30s or something at best. So this is a higher alcohol content, which means it will evaporate so much quicker and you will not get a streaky finish, okay? So if you have tried Lustering before and you have got a streaky finish and you think, oh my God, it looks dreadful, get some of this or you can use lemon extract, but only the alcohol-based one, not the oil-based one. But this comes in nice big tubs and it's cheaper than lemon extract. So I've just popped some in a bowl, and you can mix this to whatever strength you want. And you'll see what I'm wanting to do is get it quite liquidy, so I don't want it to have any lumps in. And what you need to do is make sure that you've got enough to cover your whole cake. So don't just mix a little bit, because what you'll have to then do is go back and mix some more. It's been a while since I lustered, so we might end up doing that. But it's the fake Cahill ones, Cahill. I was getting it wrong.
You say Cahill, but it's Cahill.
It's Cahill, is it?
Yeah. Well, when I spoke to the lovely man in Australia, and Faye is from Australia, I said Faye Cahill, and everybody corrected me. And he actually turned around and said, actually, Carol, you're right. That's how she pronounces her name. Cahill. Yeah.
I'm like you were saying earlier, I think I know I've got it right, and then I change it to the other one.
Yeah. Well done, Hannah.
I know. Oh dear. At least she's not here.
That was a deliberate one.
At least she's
Don't
not.
do deliberate ones, because you'll stick.
Honestly, I'm boiling. I think my mascara's
You'll forget which is the right one then.
Right, so you can see how watery and liquidy that is there. We've just got it's like a lovely peachy sheen. And what I'm going to do is just
a quick question. Which fondant did you prefer working with, Rachel?
I like them both. I've worked with both of them all week. I like them. I would use either of them.
Can you just let the audience know that up until I gave you dummy cakes, you'd never use these fondants, had you?
I'd used Renshaw like back in the day,
Did
like
you
10.
use the cover paste?
Yeah, but 10 years ago.
Right.
And they definitely did something to the formula quite a few years ago now. But by then I was using Massa, and I was just doing wedding cakes, so I had my formula, I had my tried and tested product, I was happy with it. Massa is expensive though, so there's things like when I come to do dummy cakes or when I come to cover boards and things like that, where really you don't need to be using Massa, and it is expensive, and also when I'm teaching and stuff like that, so it can get expensive. So yeah, I was really surprised. I think the Renshaw, I'd never revisited it, and this is the one that I covered with Renshaw, which we're going to luster now. But it's all in the conditioning, and it's all having the right tools and giving it the right attention to get the finish on it. But I must say, roll it out consistently, get it on quick, no faffing, and secure that top edge. Okay.
Just a quickie, have we lost sound on YouTube? That question was some time ago, well, probably last 5 minutes ago. And somebody said the picture is frozen. But I don't know what that's saying. It's not frozen for me, guys. I've not got a frozen picture.
Not frozen for me.
Okay, so it might just be one person.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to crack on then.
Yep, yep.
So I'm going to apply with one brush, and then we keep a dry brush to buff off anything that's sort of dripping or excess. Now I'm using a flat brush on this. You can get wider ones as well, but try and get the flat brush. Now you can obviously, if you've only got smaller brushes, you can still do it, but what will happen is you'll have more brush strokes, it'll take you longer to get round, and you're more likely to end up with one side drying out while you're still painting the other one.
Let me just tell you about these brushes. I got these from Australia as well. At the moment, I'm not importing anything in from abroad until this whole world gets itself sorted out with its shipping costs and everything. So these did come in from Australia. It's a wide flow brush. It's a 1.5 inch. And what I would suggest is, and Rachel, I was talking to Rachel before the live as well, nip down to Hobbycraft or order online on Hobbycraft a really nice art brush. Make sure it's synthetic hair though, not real hair, and you want a really nice soft one, and that will be perfect. About 1.5 inches wide will be brilliant.
You don't need an expensive one. Hobbycraft have their own range in the art section, and they do like regular sales. If you sign up to their mailing list, they do regular art sales. I'm just going to pop a bit more in that because it's not showing up quite as much as I want.
I was going to say it's very light colour, that one. So.
Yeah, but you can build these layers up because they dry so quickly.
And let me just say happy Australia Day to Wayne Chambers, who's also watching with Tony as well, who's from Australia. And my daughter's in Australia as well, and she was telling me actually it was Australia Day today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because she was having another day off.
the Australia Day.
Yeah.
So this is then the dry brush that I'm just going back over with, just to get rid of any excess and to smooth off any brush strokes. Now,
So
if
do
you
you need anything special to clean your brushes with?
no, I just clean them in soapy water and
Yeah.
then let them to dry. Yeah, they're fine.
That's so bad.
Is it?
Yes.
Why? What
You
should you
should
do?
clean them in corn flour and dust them out on
Oh, I did hear that actually. One of my
Yes.
group told me that.
Because what happens is, if you clean them with water, what happens is all your bristles will start to come out. Softens the glue,
Oh, there you
especially if you
go.
put them in hot water and they loosen up and they start to come out. Because those bristles are only glued in.
Yeah.
So what you do is you get a corn flour and you rub your brush in it and then you rub it until it's clean, not hard, nice and gentle on some kitchen roll.
Huh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think somebody had mentioned it in my group when we were talking about it, but
I get it done here on classes here. We've had classes and then all the ladies clean up and throw all the brushes in the sink. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
yeah. But yeah, I don't spend a huge amount on my brushes. I do go through them because a lot of the stuff I use are like quite vibrant dark colours, so you know.
So what colour are you using there, the rest
So
of it?
this is the sorbet.
Yeah, it's a lovely colour, the sorbet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a colour that, to be fair, is quite understated really, but I think it's perfect for wedding cakes and things. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's very weddingy. It's like a muted peachy tone. So if your dry brush starts to get a little bit wet, you can just clean it off on a bit of kitchen towel, which there is here. So just take any excess water off and then go back.
It was frozen for only 30 seconds.
Oh well.
They're
That's
saying Simon cut them off so that they couldn't comment for a few minutes.
Yeah.
in the sin bin.
Yeah. Stop calling my beard names.
They're all saying it's okay now. Yeah, we'll leave Simon in his beard alone because on Thursday he's going to come in and impress me with the most amazing short coloured beard.
Amazing coloured beard, yeah.
You
It
got
won't be
to trim it.
short. I might trim it, yeah.
Yeah, you need to. It's a bit too bushy, that Simon.
I
The
love how
thing
we've gone
is-
from we're going to leave
thing
Simon
is-
in his beard alone
The
to
thing
you've
is,
got
me
to
and
it.
Simon- me and Simon
In the
have
same
been-
sentence.
Listen, me and Simon have had this conversation for 8 years. I'm not winning this fight, believe me. The more I
I
go
don't
on
even
about
know
it,
why you...
I know. The more I go on about it, the more it's not happening. But I just
Yeah.
can't help myself.
So
Beards freak me out.
it's a good job he has to wear a face mask. Isn't
Eh?
it? It's a good job he has to wear a face
Yeah.
mask.
He
at the
knows.
moment
He
then.
knows. 8 years he's been here with this beard. At least he's got rid of those awful moustache whiskers things he had once. He grew them so that they were nearly down to his waist and then curled them up.
Do you know they were about this long?
You were not. You were there
Down to his waist.
It was like
Literally
this.
down to
It
his
was
waist.
like
Literally
this,
down
yeah.
to his
It
waist.
was like this, stroking them while he was
It's
talking
okay.
to him.
I
Pulling
could-
them down, then he's plaiting them, then he's twirling them round.
They wouldn't even reach my ears, Carol.
That's because they were plaited and whatever else she'd done to them. Anyway, eventually they went.
So I'm just drying off with the dry brush. And I've done 3 layers on that, but the first layer was really watered down, so
Oh, that's really good.
just doing a 3rd layer.
That's
on
come
top.
together, that colour, really well, hasn't it? It wasn't looking too great at first, was it?
Thanks, Carol.
No, I'll be honest, they were watching as well. It was looking fairly blotchy.
It's just
at
because it
first.
was
You just
too
gotta be
watered
patient,
down.
haven't you?
Yeah. So if you do, obviously, what I would normally do with a luster or anything that I'm going to paint onto a cake is that I would have.
You know what that looks like now? Silk.
Oh. I would have rolled out, if I knew that I was going to be doing this,
Yeah.
I would have rolled out some of my spare sugar paste and I'd have tested it on there so that I could like test the mix before I put it onto the actual cake.
Yeah.
So some people again might be scared of painting onto cakes. Test it so that you know that you're happy with the colour. You can build it up though, so even if it's too light, you're better off starting with it too light and building the layers up than it being too bold on your first coat and you being like, oh my gosh, it's way more bright or bold or garish or whatever than you had anticipated, or even that it's a different tone to what you wanted. So always test. You can custom mix these. So say for example if this was too peach in your test pot, you don't need to mix another batch. If you've got some like of the white tones, you can then add some of the white tones in to kind of knock that colour back a bit in intensity. So you can custom mix these. You don't need to just use them as they are in the tub. So please don't worry about that. So just to show you against what it started off like. So we've just put a subtle layer on there, and what we're going to do is arrange some sugar flowers on there. We've got like a peachy sugar rose and some white peonies. So I'm going to pop those on now to finish this cake off. So move this out of the way.
So just to let you know, Barina has just responded and she said she will be dispatching on Wednesday. So that means that we should get them for Friday or Monday next week. I think she's Northern Ireland, so we won't have too much of a problem. So fingers crossed.
Perfect. And that's for the
That's for the smoothers. And John has just reminded me about TikTok. Yes, you're right. TTF, which is TikTok follower. Wondered what the F meant. TikTok follower.
He's got all the answers.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah. Yeah, we need 1,000 of you. So ask all your mates, family, friends, make up new ones, and because we need 1,000 to join TikTok. And then you've got to find us, Sugar and Crumbs, like us, and then once we get 1,000 followers, we can do lives on there.
Okay, so here's, I've got some. It's nice, isn't it? It's nice in springtime, I think. So I've got some leftover sugar flowers that I've got from classes that we've taught. So I'm just going to arrange these on here to finish it off. And then on the other cake, we're going to do some borders using a Karen Davis. I always get Karen Davis and Katie Sue molds mixed up. Karen Davis border mold, and then we're going to luster that as well to give it to make it stand out. So I'm just using some flower picks, so we'll go over this in loads more detail on the course next month on the class. These are PME ones, I think, but you've got the culprit ones on the website as well. They come in different sizes. They're sealed at one end and open at the other, and basically your flower stem goes into it. So it means that your wire or your fresh cut flower is not actually coming into contact with your cake.
Because we don't want no rust on the cake.
We don't want no rust. So we just pop that into there, decide where we want it. I'm just going to pop it in there. You might want to use a little pair of pliers to pop it in. Okay.
So when you do your, just been asked a question here, when you've done your introduction to wedding cakes,
yes,
what will be your next one? What will you cover?
So we'll probably do an equivalent working with sugar paste wedding cake. So again, sugar paste, but tiered and doweled and stacked with some sort of introductory sugar paste decorative techniques. So again, some popular but accessible if you're like new to it, so that you're not too scared, but you can make a sugar pasted tiered cake look super impressive using some quick and easy decorative techniques. And then from that, you've got the basic foundation on buttercream and sugar paste to then build upon other skills that we'll go on to later in the year.
So a question on YouTube. Do you need to paint it before the sugar paste has dried? Or
No. Normally I would tend to just leave it overnight and then luster it the next day. But you can see it's gone on fine. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Obviously, you see me do it straight after. But typically, I would do all my sugar paste in one day and then decorate the next. That's just because that's my kind of routine of planning throughout the week of working up to a wedding. But
just say your peonies are amazing.
Oh, thank you. These were from a private class that I did, nearly a year ago. They do last, so these have just been in a cake box in a cupboard, and they're called an open peony.
I wonder how many ladies might want that as a class.
This is quite a good introductory flower because all the petals are pretty much the same, and the centres are really quick to make. Unlike this one, which is a little bit more decorative. So this is like a David Austin rose. So I'm just cutting the stem to the kind of length that fits in the... And you will find, like you'll see here on this dummy, that bits have fallen off. And it doesn't matter, especially with the peonies. There's so many petals and ruffles on it that it really doesn't matter.
They're all saying how stunning it is.
Oh. I did a cake for a shoot, a wedding cake for a wedding style shoot this time last year. No, springtime it was. And it was very heavy on the florals. It was a big cake, loads of florals on it, and like big delphiniums and stocks and stuff. And I did a live arranging them live in my group, and you can hear like all them knocking together, and there was the odd crack and things like that. People were saying you are stressing me out because there's obviously you do get the odd breakage, but it's fine. You just don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Some of these are spares, and you always have spares, so it's to cater for that. And there we go.
Doesn't it look stunning, that? So show the love and the appreciation. Isn't that beautiful, that? We're all here in awe, wishing we could produce one like that.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
We've got the Simon nod of approval.
And I have to say, that dust has gone on beautiful.
It's
that
lovely, isn't it?
lovely.
I'm a big fan of the Faye.
Really lovely.
I'm a big fan of, I'm just going to call her Faye.
It looks like silk. It just looks beautiful.
And it's just such a subtle shimmer, so it's really nice, like for wedding cakes in particular, because quite often on the cake table they might have some nice little candles lit, and as you get into the evening when the cake's going to be cut,
classic.
it really picks up that lovely subtle shimmer. It's not in your face.
It's classic.
Yeah, and that sort of more subtle effect on wedding cakes can often be quite timeless, so it's a lovely, and you saw how quickly it went on, so it's a nice effect to have like in your back pocket to be able to do. Okay, so on this one, I don't have any of the timetable for this. We're going to use the mould. So we've got some of the Karen Davies moulds here. So these are like what's called the border moulds, and this is like the double pearls and the pearls. And I don't know what you would call this one.
That one's the cable knit mould, so
right.
You can use it for putting cable knit all the way around.
Yeah.
And that's a little beading that goes around the top.
Okay.
So when you've done the bit, you see the big cable there?
This?
Yeah, the next
one.
one.
This one.
And you go up the cake with it.
Oh, right.
And then at the top you do the little beading.
To finish off.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know, should we do, which one should we do? The pearls?
Yeah, do the pearls.
Okay.
Everybody loves pearls, don't they?
Yeah.
A string of pearls.
And then we can pop a little bit of lustre on that as well. So I'm just using the sugar paste. Again, I've never used moulds with this brand sugar paste, but Carol assures me it's perfectly good.
Yeah. So the flowers are real flowers. They're not real flowers.
Sugar flowers.
They are flowers made by Rachel.
Yeah.
She made them over a year ago, and look how good they still are.
They do last, and I always have, like, from doing classes and from you know, real weddings and shoots, I always make spares because they do, you know.
Yeah, what do you think about the upside down method, Rachel?
I personally, I haven't taken to it. So I know some people absolutely use it, but for me, I always seem to end up getting like a lip on mine. It's just different techniques will suit different people. Absolutely give it a go. For me, because I do mostly tiered cakes, and some of the tiers, as they get bigger and my tiers are quite tall, flipping them over, I was always like hurting my wrists and like ending up, I couldn't quite do it seamlessly enough without either hurting my wrists or like putting marks in the cake or something.
You're saying there that's your smallest cake that you would do. How tall would you go?
No, I do 4-inch and 5-inch as well. Yeah.
Well, on height size, how tall would you go on a height?
However tall this is, like what, 10 inches?
Yeah.
About 10 inches?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I'm doing calligraphy on a cake, which might be another thing we do,
calligraphy,
yeah, so I hand paint calligraphy on cake, so the couple's names, or like you might have love or something like that. So on those tiers, I always make them extra tall, so 4 layers of cake, to allow extra space for the calligraphy, so it's not cramped or it's not hidden by flowers or anything like that. But obviously, if you get, so my general rule of, because obviously you can also panel wrap these, which I absolutely will do. So if your cake is a lot taller than it is wide, then I would advise panel wrapping.
And there's another lesson for another time.
Yeah. Yeah. Panel wrapping is quicker, so for my shoot cakes, I tend to panel wrap. You know, then I know some people are like, oh, there's a seam, and But you can get rid of a lot of it, and actually, if you if you are using the Flexi Smooths, you can get rid of a lot of it. And if they're for shoots and things like that, you know, shoots are very much sort of, they're nicely edited and stuff like that. So if you've got any bit in particular you don't want to be seen, or you want correcting in the edit, you just speak to the photographer and say, make sure on that one you kind of get rid of that, because it's so much quicker than for me anyway, personally.
Sorry, I've just got left. Vicky Pine. Fab live tonight. She watched Karen this afternoon and signed up for Snapchat. No wonder she couldn't find us. She's now signed up for TikTok.
Did Karen tell them Snapchat, do you think?
No.
Or, oh, she just got confused.
Yeah, no, she's just got herself
Signed up
confused.
for Snapchat. That's brilliant. I'm just flipping this mould over. Not used this mould before.
A question, how do you preserve them? I'm presuming they mean the flowers.
So they're made using florist paste, so they have a natural setting agent in, so they're going to set firm. And as long as you keep them away from humidity and dust, they're fine. So I have a whole cupboard like full of, like, it's like my little cake graveyard, flower graveyard, where there's loads of flowers left over and foliage. You can see here I've got spare leaves and things like that. And when I'm recycling display cakes, I strip the flowers off them, and any of them that are not damaged or the colour's not gone in them, then I reuse on, you know, display cakes, the next display cakes or shoot cakes. Now, the colour can sometimes go on them. Obviously, so the more intense the colour, the less time they will last. But other than that, they last really well, as long as any humidity, and they will wilt. So make sure that you keep them somewhere that's not humid. So some people have like garden studios and things like that, and they can often not like that. But yeah, you can get a dehumidifier and things like that, and that will definitely help.
So if you're asking me, have we put Tylo in this sugar paste for the borders? No, there's no need, because it's just a border. So you only want to use Tylo on things that you want to stand or lift up or hold itself. This is going to be attached to the cake, so sugar paste is just absolutely fine.
But again, different brands. So this, I'm using the Renshaw at the moment. I'm going to switch over in a second to the Select, because the Renshaw out of the two is the stretchier. And when you're taking it out of the moulds, obviously you don't want to distort the shape of it.
Yeah.
So again, if you are using a really stretchy brand like the Renshaw has got loads of give in it, you might struggle a little bit, but you can pop the mould in the freezer for 10 minutes and it will help you remove it.
You write your when you're placing an order, you write TTF, and you also put your name that you are on TikTok, so that we can check that you did subscribe. Don't be signing up in loads of names, I know you lot. Well, actually you can, because you'll be ordering loads of orders. Yeah. Anyhow, you get a free bag of icing sugar.
How many people have you got on the TikTok already on your account?
I think we last looked, I don't know, we've got a long way to go yet. Now there were 600 watching earlier, so hopefully we've got 600 added to it. We was only at 178 when I last looked.
Right.
So we've got a long way to go.
I'm just going to switch that to the other one. See if that's any different. How are we doing for time?
5 to 10, so you've got 5 minutes.
Okay.
So, right guys, we need to get a move on, because we've got 195 followers. So we're 805 short. Come on.
Oh my god.
Sign up for TikTok.
Come on, get on with it.
You need to go viral.
Eh?
You need to go viral.
Hey, I tell you, one of my little videos on there is at 34,900 views.
On where?
On TikTok.
Oh my gosh, you've already got some stuff on there.
Yeah. Oh, John's.
So you can put stuff on there, but you just can't do lives.
We can't do lives. Well, TikTok's only for videos, not for pictures. So
Right.
Instagram, you do pictures and little videos,
Right.
okay, and then Snapchat, then those disappear after a certain time, don't they? Is it after?
Yeah, I've never
24
got into
hours?
Snapchat.
I don't
yeah.
get it. Anyhow, but yeah, so a little video. So John's been putting some videos on, and one of them's had 34,000 900 views. There's 2 really good
Amazing.
videos on there, but I don't think people realise they're videos. It just says sugar and crumbs, but if you click them, there's 2 little videos on there. One is, let me just see, easy brownies, and the other one is how to make ice cream. But I think people just think it's a picture.
Right. Okay, so we're just going to pop this border. I think we'll do it around the top.
Yep, so if you sign up for TikTok, it's changed now. TikTok was for all the youngsters all doing funny dances and all sorts of strange things. But it's actually got all grown up now and sophisticated.
That's it?
I think it's still got
Classic.
the youngsters doing funny
I think it
dances.
still has got youngsters doing funny things on it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I'm just using a little bit of water to attach this. So I've put water on the back of the actual pearls. You don't need a lot. You don't want obviously to add in loads of water onto your cake, onto your sugar paste.
So let me just answer a question. Flour paste is designed to roll very, very thin, to make very thin petals. Modelling paste is designed for a bit chunky. It's firm, it's just basically firm sugar paste, and that's so you can make models. But you can use the Renshaw, which is flour and modelling paste, so you can roll that out very thin. So if you're using Squires do flour paste, and that's what most people do use. We do use Smart Flex as well, that's a great one to use as well. So
you'll find even with the flour paste there's different consistencies, just like the sugar paste between the brands. Like Squires is quite a firm one. You don't get a lot of time to work with the Squires one. And you need to condition it with some Trex, but you don't get as much time. It dries out much quicker, which obviously for some flours you're wanting them to dry out quick.
yeah, those pearls look lovely, don't they? So yes, if you do sign up for TikTok, on your next order there's a comment box just before you check out. So just before you check out, don't miss it, because there's nothing we can do after that. In there you put TikTok, you put your username, and you put TTF for TikTok follower, put your username, and then we will pop in a free bag of icing sugar. Worth £3 that is to you, you know.
All for just
going
on TikTok.
to go on TikTok and watch us. Well, you can't watch us yet, we need another 805 people. So can you get all your friends to sign up? There's 369 here watching tonight. Why have they not signed up yet?
Yeah, that select stuff is definitely stretching less when you remove it from the mould. So
if you use Karen Davies at sugar paste, that doesn't.
Oh, I've not used that one. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on the film.
The platinum is very firm as well.
Right.
So this is a bit softer. This one. Which one are you using here? Are you using covering?
I'm using the select. Half of them I've done with the Renshaw, and they were stretching a little bit when I was taking them out the mould. So then I switched to the other one.
Yeah, the silk's a bit softer, but the platinum's a bit firmer.
Right.
And if you use Karen Davies, you'll have no problem.
Yeah, I saw hers. I've never used it though.
It's just got a bit of stylo in it.
Yeah.
So it's firmer to need that for cakes. She doesn't really advise you putting it on cakes because you have to roll hard.
So we're just going to quickly luster
that. On the top of the cake there.
Yeah, super
I think
nice.
we all have the habit of going to the bottom of the cake, don't we? And that looks nice.
But if you're worried about your top edge, if you're worried about the accuracy of it, pop a little mould border around.
We've sorted it.
And
don't need to worry about sharp edges now.
Hide it like a goodie. So we're just going to pop a little bit of luster on that.
They need a lesson off you, Simon, on how to sort out using TikTok.
I've never used it.
Have you never used it either?
I've not signed up.
Simon!
It's the first I've heard of it.
Is it?
No, I mean the first I've heard of you being on TikTok. I've obviously heard of TikTok.
Come on, Simon.
How do you do it? You need to download the app TikTok first of all. So download the app, and then it just asks you to sign in, and then you create a username.
Sorry, Jill. I haven't even said hello to you.
Is it Jill Noyle?
Who on here?
Yeah.
Jill Cook.
Oh, Jill Cook, right? Because I was just going to comment to her, Jill. No. I don't know how you say it. No. Noye. So she's just going to say, honestly, I can't believe what Rachel has achieved in just a couple of hours. Fantastic. Yeah.
Ah, that's nice. This is not my first rodeo, though. I've been.
And what's Joe Cook got to say, Simon?
I'm very quiet.
Well, you said that earlier. Didn't
Well, he's
you?
scared of speaking in case I go on about his beard again. I don't know why he's scared, because we've been going on at him for 8 years about this freaking beard.
I'm just sick of hearing about it.
He's sick of hearing of it, I know. I'm sick of looking at it.
That's why I've got my mask on.
Well, I've won the battle, he's put his mask on.
Oh dear. So I'm just popping some luster on that. You can see there's the odd little bead that's just sticking a little bit lower. Now obviously you could do this in a lovely white pearlized colour, or you could go more antique gold, whatever you wanted really. Now this bit, don't underestimate when you're painting detailing work, so anything that's moulded with
Can I
luster.
just interrupt?
Yeah.
I've been told by the supplier that Ruby Colour Splash is in the building.
Mm.
So I'm hoping to get a notification tomorrow that we have Ruby, because I've secured quite a bit of it for the website.
Is that for Valentine's?
No, what it was, Cicely Sutherland came and did a live, and of all the colours that she picked one colour that was out of stock with the supplier, and they've been out of stock. And can I get hold of it? No.
Oh no.
So she picked Ruby, the Ruby colour. Rather, most people would pick a gold or something like that, but I didn't look at what she was using. And to be fair, it didn't matter to me what you use. But I've never known Ruby to be out of stock, and I can't get it. But it looked beautiful on her Christmas bauble.
Do you think
and
it is
Cicely's
because
in
of
on
that?
Thursday as well. Pardon?
Do you think it is just a backlog of like being out of stock from Christmas and then
they can't
Valentine?
get anything in the country. Everything's holed up at Folkestone and everywhere
gosh.
else. Everything's just a nightmare.
Don't think people fully thought it all through of the effects, did they? That it would all have, like Brexit and then obviously COVID on top. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's a nightmare.
So yeah, don't. This is the like the fiddly bit, and usually I would be a bit more precise and take my time.
I've not been able to get 10-inch boards for about 10 months. Not for about 10 months, for about 2 months. But
Really?
they're back in stock today. Managed to get those back in. Yeah, from the big supplier.
And the trouble is, what happens is when one person's out of stock, everyone's out of
that's
stock.
it, yeah.
So even like you're like, oh, I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, I obviously haven't been ordering as many boards as I usually would. Always have a rolling stock of them, but some of mine, like my 6 inches and stuff now, I've got nothing left, and I'm gonna have to place some orders, which I haven't really been doing because I only do wedding cakes. So I'm gonna have to stock up.
Yeah, well, boards and boxes have been a nightmare to get hold of, especially in the first lockdown. And then what's happened is then everybody sold out, and because they weren't expecting it, then they've been having to wait for deliveries. And most stuff is made in China, unfortunately. So it's having to come halfway around the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then most people have got it on ships already, so it's continually coming in.
Yeah.
But obviously everything's got to hold up with COVID, hasn't
Yeah.
it? Then it's just gone mad.
And now we're struggling with Brexit stuff, prices. Double whammy. So you can just see, now what I would do, I would carry on with that, but if you just switch to the top one, Simon, the camera above. Yeah. Now you can just see on the very top edge of these, you can still see the white. Now I would take a super fine brush and just go and cover those off. Just to get rid of those. So this is the Colour Splash Rich Gold.
It's the Rich Gold. So some of you are asking, how do you sign up for TikTok? You can't do it on your computers. It is a phone app. So you need to go to your apps on your phone, whether it's a Google one or whether it's an Android phone or an iPhone. You need to go to your apps and download TikTok. When you go there, it'll ask you to sign in. You can either sign in by using an email address or via Facebook or Google. If you haven't got a Google account, then use your Facebook account. And you just sign in your Facebook passwords and then you're in. And then you go and look for Sugar and Crumbs, dead easy, search Sugar and Crumbs, and then it asks you if you want to follow and you say yes. Or go and look to follow and just press yes. But there's still over 300, just short of 350 of you here, so. And there was 700 of you tonight, nearly.
Amazing.
So I was hoping that we were going to be there
I
tomorrow.
Well, you might be by tomorrow. You never know. Everyone's going to discover TikTok overnight.
Yeah.
It'll
Now,
be,
once you join TikTok, you'll find some very strange, amusing videos.
Yeah. It'll be all that gets put in the comments now is things
Yeah.
that people have stumbled across, like the weird and wonderful things.
Yeah, there's some wonderful things that the youngsters do, which is very strange. You think, oh my goodness. But there's lots of good foodie ones, you know, like those fast, like, weird foodie ones, isn't there?
No, I don't know. What do you mean? I'm not on
Like
there.
street food ones, when they're making street food.
Oh,
and stuff
right.
Like that.
So we've just gone round, we've gone quite quickly, so there's bits underneath there that we've just not captured, but I'm not going to go back on this and do those yet, so you won't be able to...
So Geraldine's just saying, this is so pretty, sometimes less is more, all in the prep, and if that's good, then little else needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you could go ahead and pop some flowers on that one, and it would be absolutely, you know, absolutely perfect like that, or you could trim it with some ribbon around the base.
Oh, I'm so cold, I can't feel my
I
knees.
can't go for it.
I can't feel my back and I can't feel my knees.
So we've got these lovely little hellebores, so it's a winter flower, so we can just put a couple of those on. And again, you don't need a lot. These are all individually wired, so you can open them up nicely.
I do agree with that. So Karen Breen says, wouldn't it be great if we as a country went back to producing goods rather than buying and importing?
Yeah.
It would be. I remember those days. I was only a kid at the time when we sold out everything to everywhere.
I think more people are, there's definitely like people are asking more about where things are made these days, aren't they? But sometimes you don't always have the choice, do you, of getting...
Apparently you can download TikTok on your iPad. I didn't know that actually.
Right. I might do it that way because it's nicer to watch things on a bigger screen sometimes, isn't
And
it?
Cicely Sutherland is offering to do a demo on Thursday. So that means that she'll have to probably use her mum's phone or something to show you how to sign up for TikTok. I think that's what she's saying.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, you can use your tablets, i.e. meaning iPad or smart pad or whatever it is you've got.
Yeah, not your prescription.
Yeah. Oh God. Elaine Lawton. Crikey. Elaine Lawson says, then sadly we do not have mobiles in our house. Sorry, Carol. Do you have an iPad, Elaine? Or a smart pad? Oh, there, our Beverly cousin says she signed up on her Kindle.
Oh, wow.
That's good, isn't it?
I love my Kindle.
I do agree. Since I've been signed up to TikTok, you can waste quite a lot of hours on that.
Yeah,
watching endless rubbish.
That's the thing that stops me. It's like I'm on my phone way too much as it is.
I'm on my phone too much looking at that community group.
Yeah.
Michelle Ward, you know I follow Sticky. There's a sweet shop in Australia that makes rock. To be fair, it's just like Blackpool rock. And but they show you how they make it. Well, they don't show you how to make it. They talk to you while they're making it. And it's become fairly addictive. So there I was watching it the other day, and up pops my friend here, Michelle Ward.
Oh.
There she is there, and I'm thinking, what's she doing on the
Oh,
same
that's
site as
so
me in
funny.
Australia? So I sent her a little message.
That's hilarious.
Hello. What are you
Connecting
doing
people
here?
all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Another one done.
So lots of people are saying they've thoroughly enjoyed this live. Jenny March, I've enjoyed this live so much. She's learnt a lot. Have you all learnt a lot, ladies? Have we got on with it fast enough for you? Sorry,
Still
can't
not,
be doing.
still not over it.
I'll still be waffling. Don't worry, I'll still be going on with myself afterwards.
So there we go.
Wow, look at that. Clap hands. How amazing is that? Ding, ding, ding. I don't know whether I want you to cut into that cake. That's too nice. Isn't that pretty, that cake? Isn't it absolutely lovely? Really, really classy. Well done, Rachel. So, are we going to see some amazing sugar pasted cakes now? Yeah. Now, some of you might be asking me about the ganache plates. It looks like I've only got 10s and 12s in stock, but Rachel is using a 10 and a 14 there for sitting her cakes on. So if you've got smaller cakes, 10s will be big enough. And Barina has just messaged to say smoothers will be with us next week. So she's going to dispatch them on Wednesday, and they'll be with us next week. Yeah. So and they'll be back in stock. So hopefully you've enjoyed the live. I'm just going to go further up the comments a minute. Let me know what you think before we say goodbye, because I want to say thank you for Simon. Oh, we're only 10 minutes over. That's not too bad.
No, not at all.
And thank you to you, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
So your class is not far away, is it? Should we talk about your class again?
15th of Feb, day after Valentine's. Going to be here all day. We're doing 2 cakes, so we're going to be taking you right through from, we're going to have them ready to buttercream and cover with buttercream. So we're going to do a 3-tiered semi-naked cake. We're going to be stacking it, doweling it, and decorating it with fresh flowers, all in a food safe way. So I'll take you through different floral arrangements, designs, different styles. And then we're also going to be doing a 2-tiered buttercream textured cake, again, which will be dowelled. It's absolutely packed. We're going to be up against it for time wise, so I know Carol said it before and she says it every time, but please don't try and do it along at the same time as me if you can, because there'll be things that I'll have prepped ahead of time, and I'll obviously be working at a speed perhaps that you might not be ready to work at yet. So
the thing is, when you're trying to work on a class as well, you end up turning your head away and you're concentrating on what you're doing, and then you miss things.
I've done it before,
it's always good to watch.
Yeah, it does get quite frustrating, and you always end up just giving up and stopping.
Yeah,
so.
And you can always ask questions as well, because the lovely Karen will be here on comments. So some of you asked, should we cut the cake? So should we cut the cake or should we not cut the cake? One of the cakes. So I've got to give you 30 seconds while I wait for the answers back. Do you want to see one of the cakes cut so you can see what the ganache is like inside?
Take these off.
The other ganache cakes will be back in stock next week, hopefully for Friday. Sorry. Don't forget to like and share.
No, he's saying about photographs. We can cut it and you can take pictures and post them afterwards.
Yeah.
So
okay, tell you what, we're going to
take pictures of them like this afterwards, and then we'll cut one and Simon can take more pictures and
yes,
post those.
Alright, Simon's going to take photographs. So what he wants to do, he wants to take photographs as they are, and then we're going to cut it. We'll cut it and then you can see it, and then we'll add it to the images. So I'll get them up tomorrow. Yeah? That's a good idea, isn't it? Because then you can take a picture of it being cut nicely, can't you?
Yeah. Nicely. Yeah. I don't usually cut them.
Don't
say it's going to be nice.
Right, everyone. So I'll be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock. And tomorrow I'm not teaching you how to do isomalt. I've only done it for the first time myself. Do you want to go and grab one of those things? Yeah. In fact, if you carry that turntable.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Don't spin the whole lot out.
Does the turntable lift out?
No, it doesn't. You'll be fine on that one.
Oh my
so,
god,
if you didn't see earlier, so I was playing with isomalt. In fact, Simon cannot believe I actually had a practice run. But I really felt that I needed to have a practice run because I didn't think it would be a good idea, me burning my fingers in front of you.
This is my favourite one.
It's lovely that, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make these tomorrow and how to colour them. They're really very, very easy. That's about as technical as we're doing. I have made some flowers.
I didn't even joke. Stop breathing for a second.
I was going to say, you stay behind doing some homework tonight, Rachel. Do you want to go to the overhead so you can see that?
He's on it. He's on it now. I actually stopped breathing. I think I've given myself heartburn.
It's just come up on the screen here. Your face is a picture.
Freeze frame.
So what I've done is I've used the isomalt here, and I've actually used the Karen Davies mould, and I've used some of the Katie Sue moulds, but I'll show you how to do them tomorrow. And tomorrow morning I'm going to be playing in the kitchen because I've got a few more ideas running through my mind that I thought I'd show you as well, and a few other different colours. So I've had great fun playing with these today, so hopefully you'll enjoy them. But anyhow, the glory is for Rachel tonight. So Rachel's done an amazing job, really, and that's nice, that little baby.
Yeah,
one,
it's super cute.
And I quite like the pink one, the big pink one as well.
So put stuff in that, couldn't you? Like chocolates and
little truffles
sweets
and things. Yeah. So thank you, Rachel, for an amazing
Thanks
night.
For having
well
me.
done.
It's
Can't
been
wait
fun.
to have you in. We'll book you in for your next live.
Yeah.
And And we'll look forward to your class.
I know, me too. It's exciting.
Because I reckon your next live will be after your next class.
Yes, I think it will be.
So we can talk about it then. So if you want to go and sign up for Rachel's class, you go to sugarandcrumbs.co.uk. It's £40. It's worth every penny. And if you want to do various classes, all you need to do is ring the office and set up a payment plan. We can let you in the classes straight away, so you don't have to wait till you're paid. We will let you in the classes straight away, but you must agree a payment plan. There's no interest, it's just with us. We're not taking it out with a finance company. It's all about on trust. Plus we know your Facebook name, we'll come and find you.
And soon your TikTok name.
And we know you on TikTok as well. Right, that's us. We're going, guys. Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Simon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Rachel.
Simon. I can't believe